into the draft here, that some topside looks will be coming into place. Of course, after a lot of the housework has been done, where you tidy up the Talias and the Azirs and the Pantheons and all those sorts of things.
Oh, yeah, when you just said E and then Q, I'm like, that doesn't really narrow it down, Atlas. I'm going to need some help.
That's only Jax does that.
Only Jax does that, all right. Champions that we are going to be looking towards, the Gwen has remained at the forefront. This to me also signals that Gwen Prio is going to be high, with the Aurora being banned away. Rumble is another that we go towards basically endlessly. Xin Zhao, I think for T1 in particular, has been a mainstay. I do think we're starting to see Xin Zhao fall off slowly and steadily, which makes sense.
Yep.
Some Sundered Sky games notwithstanding, when he does really pop off. Instead, it's going to be the Wukong, who has been one of the premier team fighters and also synergizes so well with a lot of what is still open. If they don't pick Rumble now, you get to go that, but if you pair it with a Gwen, you're still going to be feeling great in the team fights.
Not to mention the Annie Rakan situation that they were staring down the barrel of, so they will be taking away the Annie and the Vi for Peanut. Actually, a pretty interesting one. I kind of like this. I think Peanut has had some of his better performances on the Vi in more recent weeks. So looking forward to seeing what he can actually get done here. Of course, it is a tall order to perform all that well into the Wukong, who certainly is cream of the crop right now. As Faker, a little bit of a grin on the face as he's like, I mean, I guess it's Galio time.
Rumble, Galio, Wukong is, as far as team fighting setups go,
not bad.
Pretty gnarly, Atlas.
Yeah, I would agree.
We'll see if that's what ends up coming through. And then Zeus has two options. Either he can go for like the soft counter, which isn't really a soft counter, but will be on, right? Because the Aurora has already been taken off the board.
True.
Or you just say,
doesn't scream happiness for HLE fans, I don't think.
Or you take one of the more rougher lane matchups, but you do really well in the mid to late game, which would be Gwen, or the Ambessa that we've seen come up again. We had like a period where Ambessa was permad, and a period where she kind of had fallen off, and now she's back on the up and up. The team fight for T1 is obviously kind of ludicrous. They also have decent side laning already with the Galio, which has been something that they've really relied on. And I think in the match against KT, we saw what happens when they still play the same way, but they don't have the leads they normally have, which I think KT did a really good job of using. We'll see if Humble Life can take some pages out of that book as well.
Yep, having a look now towards the bottom side of the map, the Nico and the Brad both taken away here is, of course, pretty obligatory into Carrier to be banning away the Bard. He has been so incredibly good at it. I think the only other person that can rival how Bard Carrier plays is Beryl in their most recent match.
I don't even think they're playing the same champion, Atlas.
No, it's...
they're doing very
They do very quintessential Bard things, but in different ways. But it is still very Bard. You know what I mean?
I feel like Carrier's playing peak League of Legends.
True.
Whereas Beryl's playing peak Bard, which are very different things to me.
Yeah, I mean...
you get what I mean, right?
No, I entirely get what you mean. And both of them, I'm saying, very good at the champion. Let's just leave it at that. As the Varus is going to be picked up here by Viper, managing to make it all the way through the bans is kind of insane. But I think Gumayushi and Viper are probably our two best quality Varus players that we have. If you're doubting the Viper thing, just go back and watch Worlds in 2021.
Oh, not even recently. Like, it's between those two. You know, if we take unhid Varus into the equation, all of a sudden Ruler enters the conversation.
Yes.
But no, Lethality, I'm with you, as we don't really get anything too surprising to come through here. Looking at what has been picked up by either team, I think that the composition of Humble Life looks really good in particularly skirmishes, right? We're talking 2v2s, we're talking 3v3s. When you have this much burst, single target CC, and the ability to just ensure, like, we pick a target, the target dies, right? There's Hook, there's Vi, there is anything that Annie does, there is Varus to follow up both of damage and with his ultimate. All of that stuff is great. The 5v5, though, for T1, I think, is going to be lethal. There is so much you see. Carrier is playing Poppy, which by itself is a win condition when T1 is playing well. And it's kind of interesting because I do know that a lot of the champions we've seen T1 on a lot, but if you told me nameplates off, I kind of would have expected the draft to be flipped. We've seen Hanwha focus a lot more on team fighting and T1 a lot more on pick. and trying to play as aggressive as possible.
Not to mention a lot of the picks are the ones that T1 have been going for. The Ambessa for Doran, certainly one of his big picks. Varus for Gumayusi. The Annie for Faker even has been something that he's been going to a lot. So kind of interesting. HLE also taking a lot of things out of the pool, thinking ahead towards game number 2. But we have a first game here to start us off. T1 on the blue side, we'll see whether they can make use of it to get off to a good start in this series, in this battle for second place. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for game number 1. HLE taking on T1. Having a look down the lanes, Chronicler, I do kind of like where HLE are at as far as bottom side of the map. I do think this Rumble matchup for the Ambessa could be difficult, and we'll just see how Zeus is going to be able to play it out.
And Atlas,
yes.
Look at Viper's runes.
So as soon as the Nautilus was picked, I was like, oh, he could play on hit. But then even I thought that was a silly suggestion. Yeah. But he was buffed for on hit, right?
He was, yeah. And also, as you highlight, it's both the combination with the Nautilus, but also, I think one of the reasons we've seen Sivir come up specifically, because I think she does actually really well into the lethality Varus. And that is a little bit harder when the Varus actually has the ability to get up front and personal. And Varus's burst, until you get to like the very late game, but on like 1-2 items, spikes way harder than the Sivir does, right?
Yeah.
Being unhit versus being a crit AD carry. So that does give Life even more power. I do think it's a really hard game to play though, because Galio, Wukong, Rumble, all these champions, if you get within range of them, are going to kind of cook you.
And, I mean, you might be saying that. I also think that this game may be impossible for Gumayusi to play as well. So maybe we just have 80 carries that are going to be absent in a lot of these fights.
Yeah.
With the fact that there's, like, public execution, depth charge, and cease and desist.
Yeah,
and chains of corruption, and Annie.
The champion.
Yep. So, like, actually everyone can be Gumayusi's worst nightmare, and that means that the spell shield isn't quite as valuable when you need to use about 15 of them to keep yourself safe. Still, T1 will be able to play Protect the President, especially with the Poppy being available, and then Wukong and Galio there with circles for days. Right now, T1 with some push priority here towards this bottom side. But pretty even. All said and done, HLE a little bit ahead as far as these lanes are concerned, because Zeus managed to get a big ol' shove. Delight finds a minion and isn't too psyched about that, as he does take a fair bit of damage back there from Gumayusi.
Nothing you want to go for. Setups outside of that, Guma has gone for Ghost, which is obviously better when it comes to the team fights, giving you a lot of extra movement speed and maneuverability around the fight.
Yep.
And for Viper, it's been just about tanking the burst, and also in the... If you find a 2v2 all-in, obviously you're going to get a lot more mileage out of the barrier.
Oh, there's the heroic charge, but Carrier not actually electing to go for too much more. I believe didn't have the Q off cooldown.
I think also you want to, even though they're doing well, I do think you still, into the Varus, want to try and avoid the longer trades.
Yeah.
Unless you have, like, in this case, level advantage. I think you can go forward and not be nearly as scared, but... Going in on the light and just allowing Viper to stack up his passive and lethal tempo is definitely a big risk, as we do have junglers on opposite sides of the map, but one of those junglers is Wukong, so I don't really expect there's too much that Owner can do right now. For Peanut, though, could look for a punish onto Doranir, although he is pretty healthy. So it looks like instead both junglers basically basing in the same space.
Yeah, going for a little bit of an excursion and then immediately going home.
And both dropping a ward in exactly the same place.
Wow. It's like it's a set play. As Viper and Delight just going to hold on to this wave. Got to teleport back for Faker. We'll see whether there is going to be anything on the lane swap scenario. Looks like that's probably not going to happen. Neither of our top laners having teleported just yet either. Zaya's certainly using his health bar as a resource here in this lane.
Yeah, I think he's chilling. He has cookies as well. I think there's a lot of junglers where you can't really get away with that. As I say that, we'll see if Owner decides to visit top. But I think that the problem with... If this was a Pantheon, you can dive this easily. Even if it was the Poppy, you can. But yeah, pre-6 Wukong just, I don't think, really has the setup. Nope. Particularly against a character like Ambessa, and if you have no CC, which pre-6 you're not going to have in that 2v1 dive. I just don't think you can do it. It's still a cookie, still a pot, so I don't think Zeus is too pressed about this.
Yeah, looks a little bit greedy here, but does have the resources to make it happen. Gets himself the shield, and he'll be A-okay.
The cannon.
Yeah, you do probably want to be there for that.
Maybe. The tension? No, I think cannon's fine. Oh. No.
Quickly. There it is.
Big.
Absolutely incredible
Immediately, Humble Life gets the gold lead, by the way.
Yep, that's how it works.
Coincidence?
I think not. Nope. It's about 100 gold, 180 gold, I think, for one cannon.
Guess we set the...
At the same time? Yeah, no, I got it. I was right there with you. Actually, that's the entire point. Oh dear. Things are pretty slow here in this this early stage of the game. I think that both teams are probably not wanting to make the first move either. As Equalizer goes down, Doran, as I say it, immediately goes hyper aggressive, but also does double duty, right? He's able to clear out the wave. Zeus going to stick around for this one, as there is nothing to tank things up. So it'll take him a little while longer. Gives the tempo over to T1 pretty comfortably.
Yeah, it's actually interesting, because I don't know how much it'll end up mattering. Maybe they can get a TP advantage out of this. We'll have to see what the wave in bot is going to do, because Viper did already answer. Also, I'm pretty sure this was off-camera, but Guma used Ghost, Carry used Heal, and Delight used his Sums. So I imagine a bot lane fight took place, which is why Delight is a little bit behind the play. Will show up in mid. I don't really think Faker's going to fall for a roam that obvious. And it looks like they did get a TP advantage out of this as, oh my god, production.
Yep, here it is.
Very nice. As, oh, it's actually aggressive.
Yeah, Delight actually just went for it.
Okay, didn't see that one coming. Guma didn't have the flash though, so I think he's not too sad about that.
Yep.
But yeah, now they still have TP on Doran, which means that it's a lot harder to contest topside. So I actually like this from Humble Life if they can get away with it. Need to be careful though. There's the TP by Carrier.
Yep, that's a big teleport in. His owner's clearing out vision. Peanut knows what's going on here, but he's actually staying on the Dragon. Let's see whether Zeus can actually help this one out, as Zeka's moving in as well. And HLE standing their ground. They've got Delight moving up, but Doran's making his way in as well. No Equalizer available, but there's the heroic entrance. Doesn't get any knockups as the bear goes down. Public execution, trying to get into that backline, but Owner gets himself out. First blood goes over, but both junglers are now lying on the floor, and I think Delight is going to follow as Zeus trying to get himself out of here. The Flame Spitter doing a lot of work, but Doran silences himself. Down goes Delight, as we stated. And Viper, he's chilling.
Ooh, that one's kind of hard to evaluate because the Dragon went over to Humble Life. If the Dragon went over to T1, I think it's just a straight-up win.
Yep.
But the Dragon did go over to Humble Life. A lot was invested by T1, and Viper got some time alone with the turret. So you see, even though Guma got the kill, there's not actually that much of a lead growing in the AD carry positions. I'm not actually sure if Peanut immediately knew that Poppy was there, based on his movement. But then right here, almost... Carrier is able to get Peanut away, then they are able to fully dodge away, but it's this re-engage that kind of gets marked by the fact that Guma shows up, right? And even though he's just a level 5 Sivir, it still means there's a numbers advantage. The rest of Humble Life were pretty low on mana in the case of Zeka, or health in the case of Zeus, so they don't really want to fight to the death, particularly not against T1, who love that type of stuff.
Yep.
So it ends up being a play top as well as a 2-for-1 trade, but the Drake goes over to Hanwha.
Some vision coming on over here as well, as that will be swept by Carrier. And so it looks like these grubs will be safely going into the hands of T1. Certainly good to deny that from the composition with an Ambassador that could be causing some problems in a side lane.
Oh, Delight is still level 5, as he has been a little more absent from the lanes. So yeah, I think it makes sense that they're not really looking for an aggressive contest on these grubs.
Yep. And Depth Charge and the Keeper's Verdict, both pretty important skills to have. And so they will be respecting it. Peanut moves over, does spot out the fact that there is an enemy red buff here, but does decide not to take it away. Instead, going to clear out his own jungle. Playing it pretty safe here as Viper does get engaged on, but throws back the ulti, and Carrier says bye. All right, that's one way to do it.
Yeah, I think Delight thought that he was going to be targeted because he already was setting up the hook, right? With Nautilus, if you hit the hook.
Oh, aggressive heal going to be used here as Delight does hit the hook, but it's a nice spell shield there from Gumayushi.
If he has ult, might be able to force flash there, but he's just a little bit too late.
He was 1 minion away. Yeah, actually got it immediately afterwards.
Kind of unfortunate, but it's means that It just ends up being a heal traded for a ghost, so neither team really going to be too worried about that. As the first item spike starting to come through, Zeus will pick up his Eclipse here, which obviously is a crazy power spike. And also, credit to Faker. I feel like we've seen Galio, who is supposed to just like softly lose this matchup. I think the Galio into Annie as a counter is much more about what you do in the later stages of the game, how you prevent Annie from assassinating your backline, and how eventually you get to shrug the damage up. But we have seen players really struggle in lane, Faker included in some of his previous matchups, so good to see that this time around no such thing. Matchup actually going pretty even as Zeus does have his ultimate available.
Oh, actually throws it out there, but Doran just sidestepping it. Sometimes you got to make the opportunistic play, but it is better if you hit the skills.
Yeah, it would have been a kill probably, or at the very least Doran in some real trouble because Peanut was waiting.
Both flashes coming up at exactly the same time, by the way, for these top laners, so they will have full information, both using it in that last team fight.
This is perfect for a first game.
Yeah, this is so incredibly close. No one really finding too many inroads.
That's usually the type of stuff we say before a team trades 4 for 0.
Exactly.
But, you know, I hope that doesn't happen this time.
I'm glad that you're referring to the curse that we did just put down.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Well, I mean, that's what you were doing.
I mean, it depends on whether you believe in curses or not.
Yeah, I mean, but you were just saying that, like, the curse could come true because of the thing that you said.
Well, but if I say it and it doesn't happen, then we never mention it again.
All right, so it's not quite a gotcha moment, but I'm pretty sure it was almost a gotcha moment. We'll get there. We'll get there, guys. Don't worry.
Always close, but never quite there.
Okay.
Zeus.
Yeah, Equalizer going to come on down here as Zeus looking for some alcove gaming. He has no way out of this one. Does have a bunch of dashes, but Carrier does not care about that. Just throws him up into the sky. Still gets a big old shield. Zeus really trying to play this one out, but not able to do so. And that is going to be Feats of Warfare over to T1 with a harpoon from Doran.
Nicely done by Doran with the help of Carrier, but I think this all goes back to the fact he was able to evade that previous play, right? Not get hit by the ultimate, able to make it out. As a result, Carrier has an opportunity to get back to his lane, and that's the first, I think, really big lead that we now start to see appear. That's a plate going over, that's a wave being shoved into the turret as well. All of a sudden, Zeus is 600 gold behind, and do you know, Doran didn't even have his Leandris yet.
Nope. Still doesn't, in fact, because he's stuck around in the lane. Peanut has started up this dragon, though, looking for double dragon to begin the game.
Oh, yeah.
If HLE, and they're just not even going to go for it.
You cannot, no. Because you're behind on tempo on top. Doran is going to base and then come back with a Leandris, and your mid laner got chunked out. So I think you just let him have this one. Although I say that, T1 isn't actually pressuring to play for that dragon yet. Might be the case down the line. But yeah, you also don't have an item on Zeka yet. You don't have an item on Viper, and they're still going to be able to get this. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, kind of nuts. T1 not really interested in the dragon this time around. Wanting to go back for some resets, they do that. And there's a Trinity Force for Owner. And with the Sundered Sky done, Trinity Force not finished, maybe that's what they were looking at. Because, of course, Sundered Sky is so incredibly powerful if you can actually get a skirmish to happen. As it will be another Mountain Drake to come on through here. Mountain Souls, I feel like, have been making a bit of a late season comeback.
They have, yeah. Yeah, neither team likes to play in a Mountain Soul.
No.
I think out of all these champions, Sivir probably cares the least. But particularly for Hanwha Live, they are a very burst-oriented comp. So for them, would be really rough if you end up playing into one of the best anti-burst tools in the game. As we do have now a possible fight around the red buff.
Bit of a rotation over. Do have a lot of ultimates back up and available again. Peanut hasn't really made use of the cease and desist so far today, as Doran and Zek are going to be fighting. A lot of fire here towards this bottom side. As Doran is going to get stunned up and takes a fair bit of damage here, but does land that harpoon. Tibbers, be careful, Zeka. Got to make sure you can take care of your teddy bear. As Peanut rotating down towards the bottom side of the map, and Doran is smartly just getting the heck out of there. HLE have been able to somewhat stabilize this one, as the Equalizer is going to be able to get rid of most of these minions. There's one left, as Tibbers, I believe, not going to kill his own minion. Atlas, you moron.
Yeah. Bases are, I mean, that's your words, not mine.
Yeah.
Bases coming in as Herald is about to spawn, and I think we're going to get our 5v5. So another reminder, T1 is going to look to, unless Carrier sees a great angle or Ona sees a great angle, my guess would be absorb the initial blow that's going to come out from Hanwha Life, right? Try to look for a kite back and then re-engage. I think that their 5v5 in particular when it comes around layering these big AoE teamfight ultimates and pieces of AoE CC is really hard to deal with. And for Hanwha Life, it's legit just kill one of Doran, Owner, or Guma just in the first 3 seconds of the fight. That's kind of the peak fight for them. It is hard though because there's Galio. Wukong, I think, is always going to do well in situations where he just gets to spin a bunch of people up. And then Carrier did also go for McHale's very early on.
Cease and desist has been used. Speaking of Carrier, who is taking a little bit of damage here in the river. Delight going to be rotating in as Ona does find him. Heroic charge comes down as well as Ona has been exhausted. There's the Cyclone. Heroic entrance comes down as well, and there's the instant McHale's. That will kill Viper, and Ona is able to pick up the kill. 4-1 now in advantage for T1. And they are not stopping. It feels like that one kill on the top side of the map, tempo vibes, straight over to T1. They have not let go.
That is a very rough death, because that is both Sums gone, Viper not in the fight, Herald going over, and Hanwha Life, you gotta know T1 is gonna be itching to fight, right? That's what they do, as they are trying to still contest here.
Yeah, speaking of itching to fight, Peanut also wanted to get on in there.
The rumble!
Going aggressive. Doran getting into that backline. Cease and desist will connect. And there's the ulti out of Zeus as well. We said Gumayushi was going to struggle to play the game, but can they still win the team fight? Faker just able to ult his way out of there. Oh, actually, never mind. Didn't even do that. He just drove HLE, and that is going to allow the double kill to come in for Doran. Faker also looking for Peanut, as not even going to die because HLE gets rid of the turret. My God, T1. That was beautiful.
And we have seen a development in the HLE teamfight driving meta. Last week, I think it was Lucid that did something similar.
And Doran did it immediately, like the same thing last week at the same time.
Yeah, we've been seeing a good amount of this as right here. Got to be ready for this to come through, right? The fact that Viper is not able to get away because of the great cleanse there coming through from Carrier on his Wukong. This is actually ends up being a really good engage here from Hanwha Life. They very early on get out Guma's spell shield. Then Zeus gets in the back line, and Guma's flash just a second too late, which means that Peanut and Co get on top of him. But the real issue, as we can see here, is that Faker gets out. I actually thought he had like an arm guard or something.
Yeah, no, it kind of blew my mind as well.
And then watch what happens to Peanut here, by the way. Gets knocked up, tries to kill Faker, just doesn't quite have the damage, and HLE kills the turret. So he doesn't even get the counter kill. That is a very, very frustrating turn of events, but it all starts with that great pick from T1, and then a great performance in teamfight. Even though Guma goes down, by that point, I think Hanwha are already in a rough position. If Viper was in that fight from the beginning, would have looked completely different. But they were, remember, down for most of that.
Exactly. And now a 3,000 gold lead. That is not small here at 18 minutes into the game. And so now these Mountain Drakes likely to start stacking up. Owner already in position for that one. Wave shoved in here in mid. And so HLE, I think they might still want to go for something here.
You have to try and fight for the Drake, right? Because Soul Point is still a big deal.
Yeah.
If you can get it, but you can't lose it in a manner that's too convincing, because then the gold lead becomes basically impossible to hold on to. So it's a very fine balance you have to walk. They might also just decide to give it up. Wouldn't be surprised if that ends up being the case. I don't know if you can hold on to this bot side turret here, Hanwha. You cannot.
No, it's a bit of a bridge too far. They will be able to take that one down. And then the teleport in from Carrier should mean that this Dragon is going comfortably over to T1. Peanut is still rotating down, though. This T1 are looking to start this one up. Okay. HLE not going to give this one up without a fight. I don't know whether it's necessarily the right call, but it's an aggressive one. And maybe we'll just have to respect it as Control Ward's going down into this Banana Brush over and over again. Equalizer right on top of them as Chains of Corruption will connect, but down goes Delight because the rest of the team just couldn't get there. And then they're like, well, that's my cue to exit. They will give up a Nautilus and a Dragon, and T1 just hold on to this game so firmly. And now Keeper's Verdict comes down. Goodbye, Zeka. And now Viper is once again alone. Taunt comes in, Cease and Desist comes down. But unfortunately, I don't think they're going to cease, and they are definitely not going to desist, although Owner is still going to die.
Yeah, I think he's happy with that, Atlas. I don't think he's too bothered. Little overzealous there, as they could have just gotten the turret. Would have been nice, but mid turret is still looking to go down very quickly. As here, the ultimate from Doran does a great job. Then I'm pretty sure Keria also interrupts the attempted hook onto Doran. Not that it would have mattered, because I don't think the rest of the team can really follow there. And then here, they go for the play on Viper. Humble Life is able to help out a little bit because Peanut's ready, so is Zeus, but ready is, you know, a valuable term because Viper does still end up going down. Currently 0-2, and really kind of reminding us why we don't see a lot of
unhit Varus is just a little difficult to make work in a lot of these team fights, especially when there's Gallios and Wukongs and Rumbles.
Yeah, I think there are setups where you can get away with it. You also don't really have a front line, you know?
Yeah.
So it is. It's been rough. I also want to give credit to T1, who I think had a pretty lackluster last week. Part of it was also, again, I think KT had been on the upswing for a while. We're clearly getting better by the week. But then the series against Nongshim, and also just how T1 looks, particularly in the second game against KT, where they were very clearly making a lot of mistakes. I feel like they've really pulled it back in this one. We're not seeing any of the, I want to say, trademark circus moves, you know, where we're like, oh, let's just re-engage because we can. And we feel like it's actually been a very measured game here. And from this position, denying Soul Point with a really strong 5v5 composition, I think T1 in full control of this one, unless Humble Life can find a miracle pick.
Yeah, they're going to need to do something incredibly heroic this time around.
Yeah.
It's about a 4,000 gold lead. Infinity Edge is now done for Gumayusi as well, as big item spikes are coming in. Sundered Sky done for Owner as well, that 2-item spike that we talk about all the time. And so this Wukong is also very frightening. Probably not going to be as worried about being caught underneath turrets anymore, as the Otacon might be one of the final nails for the coffin here.
Or it's the one that...
The avenue back in.
That deconstructs it. Like, nope, never mind. We don't need that. If we have a classic Otacon, I just think the problem is that if T1 does get set up, it's already hard for you to find a good team fight, to get past Galio and Poppy. But if they are pre-set up, like, you just dive onto Poppy or Galio?
Oh, we're teleporting in, looking for a turn angle here. As Piercing Arrow going to be charged up here by Viper. He needs to try and keep himself safe in this fight, but right now they have no information about the Otacon's health bar. Keeper's Verdict just gets rid of the Ambessa as Peanut able to flash out, but unable to steal away the Otacon. He'll just burn to a crisp, as this time Viper might be able to keep himself safe. Never mind. There's just no way out for this AD carry, and Zeus trying to be a hero, but unfortunately he's on the wrong team this year, and T1 looking to push even further, but that, I think, was the backbreaker.
Yeah, the back wasn't looking good, Atlas.
It was not.
It'd been kind of creaky for a while, but it wasn't well and truly broken. It is now. With that, a clean ace. Otacon going over. More turrets falling. And Humble Life are most certainly going to be looking at a 1-0 deficit here in this series, as the Wallets are doing a lot of lifting, but I want to again highlight the fact that T1's able to have Keria in the tri-brush, Faker in the lane, and you can't engage on either of them because it's Poppy and Galio. But if you don't engage on them, what do? Nothing, as it turns out. You don't get Otacon, you don't win the fight. And it's now 9K. It's
yeah, it's kind of absurd. There's a 7-0-5 Rumble in this
It's
game.
done, Atlas. That's what it is.
It is feeling a little done. You might be correct. 14-3 at the top of your screen as well, guys.
To get back to the stake conversation, if you'd ordered something medium and it would come in like this game, you'd send it back. Yeah. It's not okay.
No. This is way too well done. And in fact, just don't do that. You know, medium rare is probably about as far as you should ever go, if it's a good steak. Okay.
I'm not gonna. You eat your steak however you like. You know, I'm not. That's okay with me.
Just don't get an expensive one if you plan on burning it to a crisp. You know.
Okay, but then you're still doing the Oh, okay.
Well, we're going to
Hail Mary.
something to a crisp as in goes Peanut and immediately just gets interrupted. Cease and desist does get him into the back line, but I don't know whether he necessarily wants to be there. Gumayusi flashes away. Equalizer on his teammates mainly, but it doesn't actually matter here because T1 are so far ahead that it is just kind of doomed here for HLE. I do respect them trying to answer with more aggression.
I have to. Yeah, again, the game was already basically done. I don't think you really get any normal avenue back in, so might as well try to look for something. They got Guma Sums.
Yep. Carrier also got underneath an inhibitor turret and is likely to die. So he's obviously having a very good time. That's his first death of the game, actually. He was 0-0-14. But, you know, sometimes he's got to have a good time. Zeus is now looking for his other ex-teammate here from the bottom lane. And there's a public execution that will close the gap, and no way out here for Gumayusi. So Zeus is still gaming. He's still trying to make something happen.
They're going to look for Baron, by the way.
Wait, can they? Hang on.
No, they can.
Wait.
There's no bot lane.
Well, Faker is just going to let this dragon reset.
Doran doesn't have TP.
Hang on. Wait a sec. No, Schultz. The nail was it. We were talking about the nail.
Possible. No, I mean, even if they get it, I don't think it's enough is the problem. But if they get a good fight here, you know, dreams don't have to be memes, Atlas. They need to get Baron, though, and win the fight.
Yeah.
Which is hard.
Well, Zeker is also going to find Doran on this flank angle here as the Baron going down very low. The equalizer comes in. Heroic entrance from Faker out of the brush there. Zeus is going to be the first to die. And now the walking barbecue comes in to put them down. It was optimistic. It was cute, but it was not enough. Here for HLE, Zeka is, it's like Little Red Riding Hood walking through the forest, and there are wolves and all of those dangerous things.
That's been said about me. Optimistic, cute, but not quite enough. When I applied,
you got married, dude. It's fine.
No, I applied to the school musical. I can't say else. It was a bit of a disaster.
Oh dear.
It was great though. I had one line. They were like, "Okay, we love this guy. We can't really give him anything." Yeah, I lived through High School Musical, but I was one of the, the background people.
Yeah, right. More in the chorus.
Yeah. Oh no, not even that.
Yeah.
Don't you worry.
Oh, okay.
But for Humble Life, you got to try something. I think plays like this. Oh, might as well give it a go. I don't even know, guys. It's okay.
Delight's giving it a go in the mid lane.
Yeah, we know the game is over. It's okay.
It's 14,000 gold. That's a big lead. Peanut is going to phase check.
Not the jungle.
And yeah, the Faker jump scare does come in as he presses R because it was up and available. And that's 0-6 now. Not exactly the greatest of times, but I'm looking at the 0-5-0 Viper who needs 18 kills to crack 3K, and I don't think it's happening in this game. Still hope for the series, obviously.
Is this where we are starting the cope? So, expensive draft for T1 in terms of Fearless.
Oh, we already went over that.
Humble, yeah, but we gotta give him something, right?
Yeah.
Are we going back to? You want to tell about one of your?
You don't need to give them something. I don't think.
You want to tell about one of your high school experiences? Like, I don't know, man.
I was just rollerblading, man. Zeka flashes in, looking for a bit of an angle, but he is just going to get melted. And it's another team fight that is going very handily over to T1 as the world's smallest keeper's verdict does send Peanut back to the fountain as Zeus will fall down. And there it is. Turret's going to go down, and T1, yeah, I reckon they're feeling better after their disappointing loss to KT. Feels like a bit of that revenge has come out here in today's first game.
And it was, I think, a very solid performance of everyone on the team as well, right? I actually find it hard to pick. My first mind would be going towards Doran. I feel like he had an incredible Rumble game, but really, it was one of those games where Owner had his moments. Obviously, some of the setups from Carrier were great. I think Guma had a hard game, played it out well. Faker, as we highlighted, both in laning phase and afterwards, I think did very well. So it was an expected pullback. After definitely some messy business in the last game. For Humble Life, I don't think this is end of the world with this type of draft. I think that this game was always going to feel pretty one-sided one way or another. And as we saw, it was another, unfortunately, for them. They will be going the blue side. I hope they can bring us to a game number 3, but in that first game, T1 was doing kind of what they've been doing for most of summer.
Yep, and I think Lethality Varus was probably a better call this time around as well, having a look at how Viper did in this game. Just wasn't really able to get the autos off to make the on-hit Varus work, or should we say the on-miss Varus. But now it is time for us to take a short break. When we get back to space, gonna break down that first game and then we'll have the second. We'll see whether HLE will be able to put a series on our hands or whether it will be T1 all the way.
미드 라인부터. 나 50이 밀어줘. 오른쪽 선 깔아올게. 바로 뛰어보자. 에이 너플. 괜찮아? 아이도 공이야. 끝내자.
Can always find a way. The Nico going to be the first ban here as we jump into the draft for game number 2. And the Azir are going to be taken away once again on the red side. Does feel like Azir, Yunara, and Pantheon are our red side kind of obligatory bans, but the carrier focus is coming in pretty hard here by HLE, understandably so because he's been playing so well, but it does mean a lot of things are going to be up and available. I think an Aurora ban would fit here, get Zeus on a Gwen that isn't going to be answerable by something like a Rumble, and then you're kind of off to the races. Otherwise, you get Pantheon first pick, and you feel really good about that.
Wondering what we are going to see when it comes to the Aurora and then an early Gwen pickup wouldn't surprise me. The Kruglord did really dominate in the previous game.
Yep.
Interestingly enough, I feel like the head-to-head was actually very competitive, and then Carrier ganked once.
Yep.
And then it was done. We are going to get the prio pick of the Gwen here for Zeus. As you highlighted, the Pantheon did in fact come through, so it'll be what? Xin Zhao... It's Doran, so maybe Xin Zhao Jax? Could see
like
that. They can also just go towards the mid lane pick. Talia is open. So Talia Xin Zhao, I think, is a very inoffensive, doesn't give anything away type of opener. Picking up the Corki would be interesting. Is technically a flex, but I'm going to be real. I feel like Gen.G is the only team that actually gets away with that.
Yeah.
I think that this should just be a pickup for Guma. Corki's been great. Very versatile pick that doesn't really have a lot of losing matchups that we have seen. And it's going to be Ryze instead, and that preemptively also makes it Talia worse if that was what Humble Life wanted to go towards, because we've seen Ryze picked into Talia about 1,000,000 times.
Yep, it is one of the go-tos. I like it a lot more than the Ahri that we've seen running around, despite the fact that Showmaker had such an incredible performance on it the last time we saw the matchup. Xin Zhao, the double circles, looking to be a consideration here for HLE. Understandably so. But Peanut still pondering this, does finally lock it away. And now, what is Zeka going to be doing? Looks like more circles are going to be added. Some spherical. But instead, he's just going to opt into the matchup. I think Talia is just very strong, especially when paired with a Xin Zhao that can follow up pretty comfortably. As there is the Jax that we all expected. Doran has been fantastic on this pick throughout most of his career, but I think even his laning phase is kind of terrifying now as well, as Doran has just gotten better.
He's just been amazing. He's just been, it's been full-on domestic Doran.
Yeah.
To the point where, you know, the All-Pro was mentioned earlier as well. I think that's actually a really interesting conversation between him and Keen right now, and it might come down to that final series.
Oh, you talking about maybe the Saturday showdown?
Oh, you know we're doing some preemptive setup work for that one. Going to be amazing to see what is going to come through there. Now, expecting a lot of AD carry bans. The Jarvan ban on the side of Hanwha does make sense, given that with the Lucian ban, there aren't. We're rapidly thinning out the amount of AD carries that like to play into Jarvan.
Yep.
Jarvan is kind of an AD carry's worst nightmare. And then obviously T1 have already locked in one of the ones that does do well, which is the Corki. So outside of that, we might see more support picks as both teams have locked in most of the top side. And then it's jungler for Hanwha, AD carry for T1. So the Rel also taken away makes me think, do they want to go towards what, like...
Alistar.
Yeah, I think that is the... But then I don't know if you ban the Rel necessarily. Which is what that gives me a little bit of pause. I'm like, do you want to go towards like a Leona or something?
I think
sure.
like HLE probably want to ban Alistar and then hope that Talir is enough to disincentivize T1 from picking the Rakan. Or you just leave Alistar up and hope that they pick that one instead. We'll see what they do decide to do, because the Trundle was what they decided to take away from Ona.
I do think the Trundle ban is warranted, given how good it is into Xin Zhao specifically.
Yep.
Xin Zhao doesn't have an easy way around the pillar, and Trundle does kind of just chomp him.
He chomps.
As that is a champion that when it comes to Owner, I don't even think that he's not that great. It's just what Owner does for T1. Skarner, I'm not going to be super excited about. We've seen the matchup a good amount into Xin Zhao. Makes sense there. Xin Zhao can't really friend the Skarner he can with a lot of other AD carries, but Owner you always want to see in facilitators, right? And this is very much more of a Gen G angle. We've seen Canyon play this a ton. I think that they've been the only team that has actually made this look really good.
I think Gideon has been okay on it as well. Another one of our sort of tank junglers.
At the beginning of
I would a while back.
Yeah, back when Gideon Grubbs was all the rage.
Indeed.
I do remember that as maybe as Leona. You know, it's not super exciting. It also, even though I don't think it hard counters anymore, kind of disincentivizes the Rakan further. But it's going to just be the Lights Alistar, which does make sense. Does mean that the early laning levels are a little iffy, and even into a Talia. Looks like Keria is still more than happy. And I think they can use a good amount of teamfight CC, because the setup of just a Skarner, I think generally isn't really enough to try and fight off.
And there's also not a massive amount of AoE for the Rakan to worry about here. Of course, the rocks are going to be annoying.
That's the main thing.
But it's not necessarily as much of a, like, there's no equalizers being thrown around all over the place and stuff like that, which is kind of Rakan's worst nightmare. Pops the quickness, presses W and dies, is often what happens in that scenario. Not going to be happening this time around, but may get stopped in his tracks if Zeka is playing well. This is a champion that he has found some success on, and I think if we're looking over the HLE side, I think my biggest worry is the bottom side of the map, as Ezreal. Alistar is famously just good at doing nothing for the first few levels. But outside of that, top side of the map for HLE looking pretty strong here. I think they did make decent use of their blue side, and they will have a fair bit of team fighting power come later in the game with the come into the circle if you want to do damage or die. Is kind of how it works.
We're just in a mukbang meta. Every mascot is eating the other mascot. Look at this.
It's like, I love the
on
images
oranges
that they chose as well of Gumayusi. Absolutely perfect. This is going to be an interesting one. I think the Skarner is the biggest question mark on the T1 side of things.
I'm feeling a bit better. I'm hoping for that free gamer Atlas.
Yep. Let's see whether we can get it as we jump onto the rift for game number 2. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Onto the rift for game number 1 already. A little bit of biffo going on here in the mid lane, but otherwise not too much is going to come of it. And Zeka is just going to go back to get that, 100 health. Back up again. As Kerry not going to quite find the second Q.
So I'm actually
going to deliver a headbutt. Yeah.
I'm actually expecting an action-packed game. So I'm going to get this out of the way while we still have time.
Okay, please do.
How was your high school time?
I actually quite enjoyed high school.
Yeah, it was
you know,
good.
I feel like high school is an interesting conversation where you'll either you liked it or you absolutely hated it. You know, I feel like that's the conversation you mostly had. I actually had a great time.
Great
in high
time.
school.
Nice.
I didn't do a lot of work.
Oh, I wouldn't have expected you to.
No, but I was very good
You
at
had a good time.
socializing. Yeah.
That
And
also does not come off as surprising.
And it was frustrating because it kind of because I just sort of breezed by and everything was just
you were
kind of
coasting.
fine.
And
Yeah,
then you
yeah.
got to, classic.
And then I got to my first year at uni. I'm like, what do you have to actually do work? I never even learned how to study. I just sort of turned up for the test.
Classic.
And so that it was a bit of a rude awakening. So make sure that you do some study and learn how to do that because it's a good skill to have if you ever want to get a degree or something like that. If you want to be an esports commentator, there's not as many degrees in that. Although there are some things that you can do. I studied TV and film for a little while.
Nice.
To help with my presentation
Yeah, there's
skills.
stuff like vocal coaching.
Yep. Although that's more of like a.
Well, that's when you actually, but it can't hurt for any.
Oh no, it's definitely a good idea. I just wouldn't call it necessarily learning. It's more like doing like a first aid training or something like that. Keeping yourself healthy. Learning to speak from the diaphragm.
Yeah.
As it were.
You know the pronunciation upsets me, even though I know you're doing it on purpose, but that's okay.
I just needed to make sure that people knew how to spell it as well.
So that they could Google it and be like, oh yeah, that's a thing.
It's like draft.
You know,
have you noticed that like when so?
Hold up.
Okay, there's going to be a bit of a flick here in this mid lane.
No.
We'll go back to the draft.
Do not get this.
Don't worry.
Do not get distracted.
So it's a different draft. So DROUGHT is draft. But people think it's pronounced draught, and it's just not. It's just a dumb English word. But
really?
Yep. It's like in a reference to like beer, like draft beer.
Okay.
For example. So you could like a draft of shadows in a video game or something like that.
I had no idea.
Like in a little bottle.
How did we get here again?
Saying
oh yeah, because we're talking about diaphragm.
Yeah. Diaphragm. What's that?
Oh, Atlas? Come on.
I'm going to take a draught of pronunciation so that I can know exactly how to say words properly.
Yeah.
Well, Kerry is going to get aggressed on here momentarily as Delight goes for a little bit of a ride with his headbutt. Not really going to find too much more there, though.
But I'm glad you had a good time.
Yep.
It's nice.
Yeah.
A lot of rollerblading.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of playing video games.
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
Played a lot of Donkey Konga back then.
Of course you did.
Game was so incredibly good.
Is that the one, the rhythm game? Or
the rhythm with the bongo drums.
Yeah, I played with the bongo drums, the platformer.
Oh, yeah, Jungle Beat.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, that game was pretty
good
cool.
Stuff.
I just wanted to go back. Like, I wanted more songs in that game.
Oh,
Fortunately,
no,
it wasn't like Guitar Hero where like the modded
They just kept
scene
adding.
was just like kind of massive as well.
Yeah, no, for me it was interesting because I had my first couple of years, which weren't so great, but then I had to redo a year because it was Wrath of the Lich King. So you know how it goes.
Heck yeah.
So then I had to read it, and then after that was great. I had a really good time. Is Doran already picking up his first plate here? Also feeling great about his what would be in levels? What would be the high school equivalent in League? Is it like when you get your ultimate to like level mid game?
What?
So if you have, they're not ages, right? But if you had.
Well, Faker is in a bit of trouble. He has to flash, and then the flash follow from Zeka is too good. And he'll be able to secure first blood and a solo kill. Not enough to drag them out of the gold deficit that they're in, but definitely a good start.
Maybe as enthralled as we were with the conversation, kind of getting caught off guard there. Zeka just gets the solo bolo.
That is not the Zeka that we've been seeing.
But that's big.
Yeah.
That already sets up Humble Life for a game that hopefully goes better than the last one.
Carrier goes in, doesn't quite find the grand entrance, but let's have a look at this one more time from Zeka's perspective. Just finds the shove.
And then sitting on only a tier, but still has the damage, making sure that there's no jungler to ruin his day. Actually, they're right there, frets the Q in between the two minions.
Very, very nice. Rise no flash is all that he says at the end of that one. Knows that it may have won the battle. It's not going to win them the war, though.
As we do have to pay a little bit of attention here before we get back to the, like, what levels corresponds to what era in a champion's life. Like, Zeus is getting kind of pummeled. This counter pick of the Jacks really paying off here so far, already sitting at a like 350 gold lead. He was proxying, by the way, which is why he's having a pretty decent tempo lead. Although it does look like Zeus was able to clear out most of the wave with relative decent timing. Not too far behind, but he still ends up bleeding a lot of minions.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like Gwen should really be having this much of a bad time in the matchup. As Peanut looking to move over, as Faker is going to be here. And Peanut does get put in prison, but Ona not really interested in following up on that one. And with Talia moving over, it is a scary time. Ona might be in a little bit of trouble as Zeus is going to make the first roam, but there is the knock-up onto 2. Ona looks at the angle, doesn't quite get it, as now the needlework is coming through. Another shove! He's going to come down from the grave, and he's got Zeus trying to find Carrier here. The flash follow immediately, but the grand entrance was already right there. Still, the Jax goes down, and Ona isn't even going to be able to take down the Gwen. HLE, a dominating first skirmish.
And we haven't finished our conversation yet, or Zeus pops off in the skirmish, unmatched. No one paying any attention to the Gwen here, as we're going to take another look. At first, it looks like the turn from T1 actually ends up working out, but here, Owner doesn't actually catch the Xin Zhao. He catches Zeka instead, but Zeka was relatively full health, so it actually takes them a good amount of time.
Oh
and
my
then you
God,
can see Humble Life was actually considering backing off, but Zeus says no, keeps it going, and then even stays alive there because he gets a 4-stack snip onto Owner with his Conqueror stacked, able to stay alive. And I think that was really necessary for Humble Life in this series, because if they lose that skirmish as well, it might be a mental battle that is too hard to fight from that point on, right? But instead, audible onto the right members.
Let's see whether this was also like a take a year off because of Wrath of the Lich King. You know, that might be the situation here for T1.
Hey, it was also,
And you still finished high school, so it was fine, right?
I did, yeah. Also, I had skipped a grade when I was like in elementary school, so it actually was really funny. Me and my best friend got back into the same grade because of that.
Oh, that's excellent.
So it actually, balanced out nicely.
There you go.
It was good, yeah. Second half of high school was great. Oh, wonderful time.
Also, taking a year off for Wrath of the Lich King is pretty big.
Well, we still went to school.
That was the year after I graduated.
Ah, nice.
So that was pretty big.
Yeah, classic.
That was my first expansion as well. Maybe that was the biggest issue with the whole studying situation, was the beginning of World of Warcraft.
Even back then, we were making the same mistake.
There we go. All right, Carrier Gamushi will be able to clear out this wave pretty comfortably as Doran and Zeus just whacking on minions. But Zeus feeling a whole lot better in this matchup, as you can see. Still down a little bit, but that last team fight certainly helping out. 600 gold going to be the approximate advantage here for HLE. And I think a lot of eyes are going to be turning towards Zeka in this game after that first blood, picking up a couple of assists in that last fight as well. And even though he fell down, still 500 gold in the lead on this Talia that has been a pretty highly coveted pick.
Yeah, and for Zeka in particular, I think it's a big deal because we've been seeing some of the kind of old narratives creep up with Zeka being like he can only play melees. I think this summer he's just hasn't looked good on anything. I don't really think it's champion pool related because we have Zeus maybe in some trouble.
Yeah.
Does have the snip and the ult, so it looks like he's going to be fine.
Yeah, but just does a donut, leaves.
Because I think in 2024, and 2023 were kind of the years where he started adding more champs to a champ pool. And he just looked good on everything.
I mean, his Talia and Azir were already just kind of good.
Well, but that's,
even in 2022.
Yeah, but I think that he's still, even those, he's still upgraded. And it wasn't quite the level where his, his Akali and his Silas would be, but or Rigione, but it was still a lot better. But I think that this year he has just really struggled in general. Isn't really a champion pool thing. So for him to have a good game on Talia would be a big deal now. The gold lead is not, we're not even remotely to the point where we'd start talking about anything off topic. We would never.
Oh, Light just going to...
Right, Atlas?
Yeah.
No.
No. It's not really about that. We're very serious professionals
Always.
here at the LCK.
Yes.
And we
that's what we are known for. I argue the English broadcasts are constant level of
it's just high tier analysis and staying on point.
Always
is really, it's our calling.
Yes.
I, in fact, really struggle when things get off topic. So
I really
appreciate you keeping us in the zone.
You are a stickler for structure and
yeah.
sheets.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
follow the
yeah.
sheet.
Hi, I'm Brendan Valdez.
If you don't get the reference, watch Pog State. It's
Yeah,
great.
you certainly need to.
No?
Doran might need to also do a bit of watching. He does have some teammates.
There are two. There's both Rakan and Skarner.
Yeah.
And Hawala's like, I don't know about this one. Maybe Zeus an issue?
Yeah, does find the counter-strike. There's the grand entrance as well. And Zeus, I mean, Delight's there to watch, but he is just dead. No making his way out of that one.
And that's a repeat of game number 1.
Yeah?
As it was Humble Life looking for a setup, they decide to abandon the play. Peanut, or I think it was Peanut, or maybe it was Zeka, already was gone. Delight was still in the area, but it's just Carrier shows up. And that's the end of it. We just get a kill onto Zeus, another gold lead. Back into harder to deal with territory, approaching 600.
80 carries parked by themselves in the mid lane at this point in time as well, which is why you see Alistair sort of hanging around the Gwen. He teleported back down towards the bottom side. We'll see whether Doran does pull the trigger on the same thing, but I don't think he needs to. It's a big wave.
That's Triforce done. That's such a big spike for Jax. Actually, champion now is Faker.
Yeah, could be in a bit of trouble. Does have the grand entrance there from Carrier to try and peel, but still HLE are on the march. Owner looking to make his way over, and they will see the Scorpion and look to back away. Or will they? Looking for maybe a bit of an angle, because even Peanut is doing a lot of damage with that first item completion. And he has a huge CS lead as well over the Skarner that does struggle to farm the jungle all that quickly. Also just can't feel safe as much as Xin Zhao can in the earlier stages of the game.
Yeah, Peanut's been one of the other players on Humble that has really had a rough go. Really, I think starting that reverse sweep.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I think a lot for Hanwha, we kind of go and look back to that as a turning point. The reverse sweep from Gen.G in the road to MSI, the subsequent 3-0 by T1, and the team just hasn't really looked the same since. But thus far, on the Xin Zhao, great early skirmish, has Sundered Sky, and we have seen it really Lucid, I think, show off how truly disgusting it can be.
Yeah, Lucid and Owner, I think, really do epitomize it.
With Owner, I think mechanically, he is the cleanest Lee Sin we have. With Lucid, it felt more like a madman taking out like a lot of anger.
Yeah, or just abusing the fact that this item's pretty broken, and
he
certainly did that.
He was berserking.
Yes.
He was going in on everything. I think Owner is generally a lot more restrained, but then when he does go in, it always looks very, very good. But yeah, for Peanut, would be big if he can continue this early momentum, but T1 still insanely well-scaling opposition. They have a really big threat in the side lane. They have good side lane support with the Rise as well. And then Corki obviously is going to be looking to play the game from 2 items onwards, as Zeus did. Faker was there, but he is phase rush, so...
Yeah, just runs away.
Just runs away.
Still going to be able to interrupt the back, and so that is certainly going to be good. As Viper does look for a W on the carry here, as when it comes Lightning, Peanut able to lock down the Crab, and Viper takes a whole bunch of damage here from a big one out of Gumayushi. They are even on items, but Gumayushi does have some free socks that he did manage to put together. There's now possible fight around the Herald. Could be coming on through here. We are 1 objective away from feats of strength here for HLE. So the Herald could certainly be a place to gather that one. Next Dragon going to be a Cloud. So the likelihood of double Mountain Soul in this series is very high. Because T1 often gets Earth, Wind, and Fire. Don't tell me why, it's just a thing. All right, Peanut looking for an angle that Owner finds him. The Impale comes on down. The Crescent Guard did come on through, and Peanut stayed alive for a little bit longer than he otherwise would have, but still, Delight is going to die as well, and that is 2 very quick picks for T1. Back in the driver's seat in an instant.
I want to see how they got behind him there. Because obviously you're expecting him to look for an engage, right, when you're threatening and you're pushing positioning in River. But what exactly happened there?
I feel like Owner was waiting in that brush for a very long time.
Well, he's in the banana brush. I'm just kind of surprised as to how they didn't get vision in the banana brush. Because you know that that's most likely where someone is going to hide. So I hope we can get a replay of that, because that was, I think, the fact that really cemented their death. Normally, engaging onto his Zinza is always something that comes with a big risk, because if you don't kill him as cleanly as that he ults, and you waste tools on a champion that will auto you twice, and then be at half health again, So,
볼수 있나? 볼수 있나?
yeah, just didn't check it. Flash E,
Yeah.
so clean. And even though the ult goes off, you can see it doesn't matter. The Impale's there. The follow-up of the Rakan, very clean as well. And the Delight goes in trying to salvage the play, create some space. Not gonna be the case. And now, that Herald, as we are now learning slowly, also a valuable teamfight tool.
Yeah, it's a defensive team fighting.
Let's look. Yeah.
As, yeah, Peanut thought that he knew what was going on. But he didn't.
No, that's...
Just wanders past. That is going to be the Rise actually picking up the Drake here, as Peanut not able to find a steal. And like I said, it's going to be a Mountain Soul as Faker once again phase rushing. That's going to help him out. And does find a Rune Prison onto Zeka here, who's looking to slow down Ona, but Carrier gets into the backside and will be able to find the Talia. Seraph's not going to keep him alive. And it's Ona that actually gets the kill. I'm not sure about this one, Gumiushi, as there is an exhaust, but the rest of the team make their way over. Peanut gonna be cleaned up by the Scorpion.
Oh no, not the TP!
Yep. And the triple kill now for Ona, as Zeus looking to try and salvage the play, but instead I think he's just lining the pockets of his former teammates, and Viper is dead as well. That is a clean ace, somehow, for some reason, at 17 minutes.
And just like my 4th year of high school slipped away, this game might be slipping away from Alpha Atlas, as the turnaround is immaculate. Take another look here. Try to look for Owner. Obviously, he's able to get out. But it's this long flank from Carrier that just catches them off guard. The route from Faker starts it off. And then, I think, just give up Zeka.
Or flash into the Dragon Pit with your teammates.
Yes. And then, Hamalife, you can't be falling for this. Guma going in like that. Come on!
Yep.
That's too juicy. That's obviously bait. As you highlight, it's just a clean ace, and now they are at a 5k gold deficit.
Yep, the game has just disappeared for HLE. One thing to note, though, is that there are 4 players with the same scoreline, which is pretty cool.
I do truly appreciate your ability to see that kind of angle in a game that I'm now very afraid is cooked, Atlas. Oh, come on now, that's not...
Oh, no, I mean, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah,
We've seen worse.
Atlas, give me worse.
Okay, so have you seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail?
Yes.
You know the Black Knight?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like gets its arms and legs chopped off.
Yeah, it's just a flesh wound.
Yeah, just a flesh wound. This game, very similar to his opinion on stuff, you know? And with optimism, you never know what you can achieve. As Delight's going to have to press ult, just don't know whether it's going to quite be enough. Does get missed by the Impale, as Zeka trying to do damage where he can. In goes Peanut, looks for an angle onto Gumiushi.
But just don't have the damage.
Yeah.
If Gwen's not there and Zeus can't be there, then they don't have the damage.
Now teleport.
He's dead.
Oh, dear.
Come on.
Well, he may have a circle, so I think he might be all right, as it's Carrier that makes his way in. Faker is inside the circle, though, ready to do damage.
Okay, he's not dead. Sorry, I was getting a little... Oh, he's dead.
He is some dead. However,
unless...
does have a very nice shove.
A chance, Atlas?
And you were talking about lacks of damage. I see Ona's name on the screen, and I'm like, someone gonna die. But not when he's playing Skarner, necessarily, and Doran wasn't able to follow up quite enough there. Still, doesn't really matter. It's 5.3k gold the lead, and so with all this poking and prodding being done by T1, they will still just be able to put on that pressure, make things happen, as Ona with item number 2 now complete as well.
Yeah, and, you know, game number 1 for me was mostly about Doran, but now I'm seeing this, I'm like, we haven't had one in a while, could be an Owner POM.
Could be. I mean, this is
this
most
one
impressive Skarner performance that we've seen, I think, almost ever.
Yeah.
Since, like, Skarner was broken and, like, first picked every year.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Remember top Skarner?
Oh,
when he would just W people?
Yeah.
That was so silly. Silly old Scorpion.
Yep. He was a little strong.
So,
looking for Otacon.
I guess they're now 5k gold up, so they can just start Otacon on spawn and not care.
Yep.
And they're just going to get it.
Looks like HLE are not going to be able to do anything about it.
No, they don't have second item spikes, so they can't really contest this.
Yep. And Faker is only going to get more and more
Atlas,
terrifying.
I feel robbed.
Yeah, I know. We were supposed to get a 3-gamer. It was supposed to be happening. The draft looked fine. but then they died all at the same time, and that was a negative play, as it turned out. It's a bit of a shame, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Got to put numbers in the first and third columns, not the second one.
I don't know. I'm not great at math.
It's more just like location observation.
Oh, I know.
You know, just
I know.
doesn't matter what the number is, just put it in the outer column.
1 or 3. That's, you know, we're still using numbers. Come on, give me a break.
I mean, it's, okay. First or third? Oh, I guess it's still numbers.
Left or right?
Left or right? There you go. There you go.
No middle.
Yeah, no middle. Don't go. It's not as Aussie rules football.
There's a lot of middle gaming for Hanwha Life Atlas.
Yeah, a little bit too much middle gaming.
They are holding on to those 1-2-2 KDAs, though. Really only Viper's lagging behind.
Yeah, so Viper needs to die another time, grab a couple of assists and a kill, while the rest of his team doesn't get any.
Why can't... That doesn't work, because if he gets
that's still the task, okay? Zona could be in a little bit of trouble here, but Gumiyushi is there to defend. Takes half the health bar from Viper in an instant as the redemption comes down to try and keep them safe. Teleport's coming in, they're on a timer now as the cleanse out from Viper. He's keeping himself alive. Gumiyushi now right in amongst the enemy team with 0 mana. He'll be dead as now Carrier off to the side and Doran gets in, finds the counter-strike onto Viper. The flash out though, and Viper is fine. The snip comes through the blast cone though, gets Doran back in the fight to dominate HLE, and now Peanut having to run his way out. That's a seismic shove though, that's going to help out, and he finds the big rock. Down goes the Jax, and now Peanut realizes that maybe it's safe to go back in and do battle, and it in fact is, and it's an even fight for both teams, but T1 gets the Drake, and so theoretically still a bit of a trade up, but look at that money. It is down about 2K.
That gold lead is shrinking. That's all we could. That's all we could ask for.
Yep.
That's all we want. As in game 1, we did not see any circus performances, but in this one, bring in the trumpets because we are having some fun as the entire team collapses, trying to save the play, making sure that Ona doesn't just die. Well, that part works. Paguma, way too deep, ends up going down. And then it's, even with Viper going down the door in there, he stalls for so long, which allows... If this
blast cone wasn't here, it would have been, like, completely over for T1, but instead, Doran gets to go back in.
I think the situation is always really hard, and he does have, like, Leap Strike would have been up relatively soon, right?
Yep.
But it does mean that they're able to keep him in the pit. But with Zeka getting the flick, taking down Doran, even though it was just barely, the game's still not in a great spot, but it's, you know, it's better. It's only now like a...
And it's also like a fight like that, despite the fact that they're not ahead.
Is it time?
It's the tempo vibe.
It's the tempo vibe.
That's what you can salvage. T1 still has the majority of them, but HLE, you get that taste of victory.
I actually wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on, despite your monumental discovery in league analysis, none of the other regions have seemingly picked this up yet?
Oh, that's okay. Seismic Shove is going to push back Ona here. I prefer not to talk about it because I was quite distressed with the fact that we did make leaps and bounds, but no one else has really read the scientific paper. But that's okay. Seismic Shove pulls back Ona, but he is incredibly tanky, so he'll be absolutely fine.
Why did that get published, the paper?
The paper was in my journal. Because that's where they get published, you know, the scientific papers, the journals.
Yeah.
And so I put it in my journal. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Where can we find that?
It's at my place.
So you're talking about a physical journal?
Yeah, I put it in my journal. That's what you're supposed to do. What do you mean?
Gold lead staying stable right now.
Do you hear about like when people like think that they've discovered
up.
Ways of treating certain cancers and stuff like that, and they put them in the journals?
In the journals, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did, Chronicler. Don't make me out to seem stupid. I'm not.
I know
really
what
smart.
scientific journals are, Atlas. I'm not letting you get rid of this.
They're like mine that I have at home.
Who did the peer review?
That was my cat. Yeah, and he was really good at it.
Delight, no!
The cow, not doing so well.
He can't review anything, he's dead!
No. Oh dear. That's also the same.
Oh god, don't. No, Atlas, no! Oh, Baron might be
I had to do it, dude. I'm so sorry. It was right there.
I'm so no, it's fine. It's fine. Fine. Two can play that game, Atlas.
Well, T1 can play the Baron game. They are very good at it. They're going to start this one up right now. Zeus looking to try and stop it, but they have no information.
TP's coming in.
Yeah. Well, at least Peanut is going to be able to make it towards the pit. But Doran gets in, goes golden, and that is enough space bought here. As Zeus now trying to do some of the needlework, as Delight's also made his way back through. But that is going to be an impale only onto a cow. But I think T1 are okay with just giving over their Scorpion, if it does mean securing the Baron.
Ooh, this might mean, though, that Homolife get Dragon, if only they had another Drake, and they would have gotten Soul Point. That might actually, like, between mid-turret, you take out Owner, which means that they don't get to be out on the map for the next 30 seconds. Maybe it could have been, like, kind of okay, but now I don't think it is. Besides, it's T1, so maybe they just still contest the member down. I could see him do it. Wouldn't shock me one bit.
Yep, might go for a bit of an angle as Carrier is moving on over.
They should go to Hanwha. They're a member up. There's no Smine on the enemy team. There's no jungler.
Or T1 just goes and takes this inner turret. I mean, they're probably going to get that one anyway, because of course they've got Baron, and it had about a sliver of health. So they are just going to give the Drake, but it's about what else they can take on this map. And you can see already Faker is moving over towards that top side. Unfortunately for T1, they've kind of taken the majority of the easy turrets so far in this game. It is 5 turrets to 2.
They are suffering from success.
Yeah, it's a fair bit of suffering from success. They've cashed in on all of that money as, yeah, this was just Faker realm warping his way in, the rest of the team already being there.
Yeah, so someone has to walk up and reclaim vision, right? And unfortunately it was Delight, which is what sets up the Baron play. Great job there by Carrier and Doran, zoning them away, not allowing Peanut to get anywhere near. And then here, Owner probably in hindsight could have played it a little bit safer there. I don't think he had to die in this sequence, given that it looked like Doran was already able to get out. And, still had flash available as well. But it's just a Dragon for Homolife, and they took, like, what, half a minute off of this Rebel Baron power play, but it's still not looking good, Atlas.
It is not. They're going to have to go for another fight, I think, if something is going to be positive here for HLE. As T1 still looking to play aggressively. Siege Minion still being troublesome here around this last remaining inner turret, as Viper doing his very best to avoid getting hit by the rockets and the rocks and all sorts of stuff that's being thrown his way. That's all right.
They're holding on, though.
They certainly are. Like, I don't think HLE think that they've lost the tempo vibes completely. They're still playing like they can keep themselves in this series.
And if they believe, that means that they're there.
Exactly. That's the point. It's about the vibes, not about the reality of the situation. That's in my journal. You can bring it in tomorrow.
Please do.
If you do want to check it out.
I
did illustrations.
I'll take your word for it. Those I can't wait to see.
Yeah.
That'll be great.
I'm not a gifted artist, but I do like to use pencils.
I'm sure anything you draw would be wonderful to look at, Atlas. I'm not worried at all.
Oh, I'd probably add a little bit of worry if I were you.
No. No.
That's fine.
Because it's made by you, so I'm going to appreciate it anyway.
Aw, thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Come on now.
That was the energy that you were giving out.
I know. I do that. That does
much.
happen a lot.
Yeah. All right.
You think Homolife actually is going to come back? Because I really want to believe,
okay.
but I don't know if I'm being a little bit
I don't think
delusional.
they will, but I do think they can. They have it in them. Son, you've got the potential.
That's you talking to Hanwha, right?
No, that was my parents talking to me, and it made me very upset. Sorry, yes, that's what.
Atlas,
yeah.
you're on the LCK. You won an Emmy. You don't get to play that card. Get out of here!
I mean, it was relevant back when they said it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, ancient history. Don't bring that up.
Yeah, and then I reached my potential.
Yeah.
It was great.
You were a
Just didn't like it
potential
at the
man,
time.
but you actually reached it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, T1, they have the potential to win this team fight as well, but the rocks are down. There's the closing on to Faker, but he goes golden. There's the double impale, but the redemption is there to try and keep them alive. Carrier's going down low, but they've already lost the jungler and the cow. Now Viper is trying to fend off Doran, but I don't like his odds in that fight. And Gumayushi stays alive. And now Doran is just inside the enemy base, as he is wont to do. I don't know whether it's necessarily a good idea, though, because this counter-strike is going to do nothing, and then he's going to die. As T1, they do win the fight. They do lose 2 in the process, so it's not necessarily a wash.
Yeah, it was looking like that fight was really gonna just go their way without so much as a hitch. Could even be a game ender, but I want to see what actually... So the stalling that comes through from the Redemption is big. It's also, these are the two tankiest members, right? Delight and Peanut, so they don't actually go down that quickly. And then I guess it's just Zeus actually being able to both draw a lot of attention, and even though he doesn't get... He got so close to killing Guma, by the way. If Guma doesn't have flash there, he just ends up dying.
And it's probably a double kill as well, because
yes.
Gary is not exactly going to be able to fight a Gwen.
No, that was very close, because then, all of a sudden, they are down Guma, they are down Carrier, and then maybe Doran wouldn't have gone quite as crazy, right? Because I think Doran also went more aggressive than he had to.
I think he was in the middle of going crazy.
Yeah, I don't really quite know
what
the timing there was. But that could have been an actual window back. Still not bad for Hanwha, because do remember, as long as this game goes on, this gold lead, as long as it stays the same, loses relevance, right? It's just going to mean less and less as we get deeper into the game. I think the next team fight, though, that's going to be the big difference maker. That's going to tell us whether we're going to a game number 3 or not. And I'm looking at the item spikes atlas, and I'm not feeling too hot. Hanwha Life do have 2 stopwatches, or 2 arm guards, rather. But that item up on Guma, that is tough to deal with.
Not to mention Doran as well. As True Shot Barrage not going to quite find the mark there, as Nice Seismic Shove is going to connect, but Owner is very tanky. As you were saying, he gets redeemed as well. Which... He gets hit by the Redemption for the heal. Saying redeemed really doesn't help sell what was happening in that situation. Is nice flick over the wall there onto Owner once again. He's going to have to flash to get out of that one.
Tekka.
And I mean, if you hit him with 3 in a row, then you probably do kill him.
Yep. 2 was enough to force him to retreat into his jungle. Just a Scorpion. I guess you can't lick your wounds because he's a Scorpion, so I don't think that really works.
I was about to ask, do Scorpions have tongues?
I imagine they don't. But again, we don't know enough about biology to have this That's never held us back before.
Yeah, that's not in my journal.
Are we getting... Oh, that's nice.
I did recently...
Okay, yeah, I was about to say. So Viper got it with the...
Yeah, nailed it.
That was nice.
And then Peanut got... Yeah, very, very cool. Okay.
By the way, yeah, we're past...
Yeah, we're past... I was looking at the clock, and I'm like, hang on a second, it's past 25
Yeah, I guess you just
so
want to make sure Viper gets to his 4th item, which they're not actually going to hit. Would have been big if he had it for this upcoming fight.
He gets a bit more ability haste, so there's something. But still... Not exactly the greatest position. You're exactly right.
But you also can't take Dragon and give them Nash because you don't have Soul. So that's never a trade you want to take.
I think you also want Zeus to be on an extra item. Looks like he's finishing Zhonya's as well. Does have the needlessly large rod. Hadn't actually broken his arm guard yet, so I think he was almost able to go for Magic Pen instead, but decides not to, as T1 just grouped up with full vision of this Baron area.
Yeah, they might just want to send, who's currently pushing the top wave, you might just want to send Zeus because he's the only one that can actually make a play. But look at Faker as well, hiding in the fog, looking for a Realm Warp angle. So the moment that Hanwha Life overextend anywhere on the map, like Team 1's going to go for a snap play, right? Either towards Dragon or towards Nash. But because Hanwha Life got that last Dragon, T1 can't go for the classic, we just overload Drake, and you get Nash, but we get Soul. In which case, it's still worth it. Are we just... Is that just the whole game now? Like, trying to flick Owner over the wall? Yep. This exact spot?
Trying to collect yourself a Scorpion, much like they did in the first episode of Alien Earth, which I quite enjoyed.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but I'll get to it. You've been praising it a lot, so that means a lot.
It was very good. Actually, I did quite like the sort of like Scorpion Alien metaphor
there you go.
With at the very beginning.
That's what we wanted to see.
Oh,
and Zeus knows his old team as well, so he's like, yeah, I can't actually do this because they're gonna start Nash, which they're not. But Hanwha don't know this. Don't forget, there's no vision for Hanwha in the pit right now.
They were using Peanut the Human Ward to make sure that they knew exactly what was going on.
They take control back. One ward still going unseen, but Banana Brush control taken back. And look, T1, another ward there in that pit on the Dragon, making sure that it's not getting snuck away.
Yep. Absolutely fantastically done. Another wave getting picked up here by Zeus as well, getting closer and closer to 3 items himself. As Faker lying in wait, seeing whether anyone is going to take the bait, see whether the Rise is over there taking the Dragon himself. And this vision battle is being won by T1 right now. They've got so much extra information. As that Banana Brush ward, definitely going to be a good one.
These item finishes, Atlas, they're imminent. For a number of the members, Doran, I think, should be getting close to Maul. Zeus, obviously, has a slew of components, although he doesn't really need to finish his Zhonya's until he breaks the arm guard. Void stuff done for Zeka, but it's Viper that we're really looking towards.
And here's the back from Zeus as well. What is he actually able to put together? That is going to be the question as he's in base. And the Void Staff is actually done. He keeps the components.
Big.
That's fantastic. That was a hefty price tag that he had to put together.
And both supports also just have to continuously back, right? Because we're just running out of wards. We're going in, dropping wards.
Yep, dropping wards, clearing wards, going back, getting more wards, dropping wards, clearing wards, and going back and getting more wards. And now we've got double vision for both teams on the Dragon as well.
Oh, there it is. Cyrilda's done for Viper. That's a huge spike. A lot of extra damage available now for him, and the slow can get a good amount of value into these short-range carries on T1.
He's actually taking free damage, kinda. Is he taking free damage? Is he taking damage?
Yeah,
he was taking damage.
But so did Owner, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But not as much as Viper. And he doesn't have a lot of sustain, so that's actually not a great trade there.
Celestial opposition going to be broken here for a moment.
That's a big deal. If he had BT, I think it wouldn't have been an issue, but Owner, more than happy to give up a little bit of health, also gets it back a lot easier.
Yep. Well, they are going to be able to clear out vision once again. And look at all of this deep vision for T1 as well. They know exactly where HLE are.
Second's on a ward. So many
Delight,
wards here.
Yeah, trying to clear things out. Standing on this blast cone. And not actually going to use it. True Shot Barrage connects onto Gumayushi. That does a lot of damage. When becomes lightning, but doesn't become hitting the Corki. So.
Attention, Atlas.
Oh, yeah. This is very tense. And remember, T1 still have a 4K gold lead, but it's shrinking, right? Like, it's 3.7. I need to not necessarily do the rounding anymore as Delight. Oh, God. Yeah, that's a costly face check. Doesn't actually go down. Doesn't use the ultimate, but he will need to go back most likely. Does have the redemption, and these big ones are starting to hurt.
You're also just playing with the expectations. Like, T1 they are the Baron team. That's not their whole identity, but it's a big chunk of it for the last couple of years. So they are going to force you to keep face checking, and this time they've pulled the trigger for real.
Yep, there's the information going over. Zeus looking for that angle. Not actually spotted, but I don't think they're going to be able to stop this as the Baron is just taken. Now Doran going to get flicked back, but HLE can't stop T1 from getting out because they have a Realm Warp, and now they're looking for a re-engage. Arcane Shift is going to be decent, but that flick is not going to connect from Zeka. And HLE just kind of caught napping. T1, they find the opportune time to sneak that Baron away without any recourse.
It's an endless game of rock, paper, scissors, right? Like, just every time you take a vision control, force them to face check. Take vision control, force them to face check. And every time up until this point, this is the first time T1 actually pulled the trigger on Baron.
Yeah.
By the way, like, they hadn't actually started it in earnest. But now that's the Nash gone. That is Soul Point going over to T1. And Halma Life gonna have to hold on for the next 2 minutes.
And dear lives.
Yep. Yeah, they do, Atlas.
And man, like, I really thought that HLE were buying ground over time, but T1 were just making sure they get all their ducks in a row to take that Baron with as little contest as possible. We saw that Peanut had no way of getting into that pit.
It's just, it's both the playing with the expectations, right? Because T1 is known for this. It's also the constant denial of vision, the fact that the CC and the poke from T1 is actually quite threatening. And then it's just repeat after repeat after repeat of that same play, and the knowledge that a Realm Warp at any point can come out and engage onto your backline as well, right? If you overextend. The T1, they are not afraid to pull that trigger home alive. If they can hold on to their inhibitors, the Baron thus far, because it was used for Drake, hasn't actually gotten that much done. So if they hold on to their inhibs, I think the game will just continue, Atlas.
Yep, there might be an opportunity for HLE to actually, like, it's so difficult to siege this comp, right? You've got Talia, you can lock them in with walls.
They're all short range, by the way. Like, the siege for this comp is not great.
Yep. And if you're diving on top of an Alistair, you're not feeling fantastic. There's the flick back, not able to get Owner over the wall, as now with the Crescent Guard, Peanut looking to keep himself alive. True Shot Barrage does a lot of work, but Doran buys a lot of time as everyone's going golden. Carrier looking for some angles with his quickness and not actually able to find quite the value as Zeus almost just dies as Viper gets in front of the rocket. And Zeus keeps himself up with that arm guard. Still T1. They win the health trades. As now the Scorpions driving in. The Realm Warp comes down as well. Viper keeps himself alive though, but still T1 have broken open the base. And man, this play is so disciplined from T1. No one dying, but look at their base. It's in shambles. The wall now going to come down, trying to convince T1 to leave. And at least at this point, they're going to acquiesce, but they're going to do so with an 8K gold lead.
Owner kind of stunting on him there, not getting hit by the knockback. Viper, the teammate that everyone dreams of, happy to jump in front. Wait, if Owner dies, that's huge. They just don't have a way. Owner just runs tunnels through that wall. As we take another look here, I think Humble Live, they know they have to go. Eventually the turret will break just from the pressure of the minions. But look what happens to Zeka off on the side here. Faker finds him.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that was an absolutely ungodly amount of damage, which is what leads to this situation, even though Zeus, I think, actually would have ended up being fine because he had the stopwatch. Viper, if he doesn't catch that, and Zeus misses the stopwatch, Zeus dies, the game just ends. But because they don't have the Talia, so much zoning goes away. Then Optimistic Realm up there, because it does actually cost Faker his flash, but they do get the mid lane inhibitor. And now they're just going to keep on sieging, but top lane inhibitor wasn't taken yet. Doran's trying to make sure that that's not the case in Sin Zone. To Jax, it just feels bad. There's nothing you can do. And there is that second inhib Atlas. How is Zeus there?
Well, he is there. I assume he used his legs in order to get up there. I don't know. Or his mouse, I guess, as his legs are digital.
Sure.
That is how the Gwen made it towards the top lane. Still has teleport available, so didn't use that.
And now you can just overload the bot lane as T1, and people will have to deal.
Yeah.
You can just keep chipping away, and guess what? You're also setting up perfectly for the Drake in about 1:20. And Humble Life, I think we're going to have to see...
They have to win about 3 perfect team fights in a row. As we can see, though, with the fact that waves are now being shoved over and over again into HLE, if, you know, for the next minute and a half, things might be okay.
I actually think you just have to win one fight. We're getting to the point in the game where, like, one decisive fight win, and you do actually just... You can just charge up the Nexus, right? Like, we're getting to the point where the next fight probably going to take place at, what, like 43 minutes for this Dragon. If you lose, like, a 1-for-4 trade, the fight truly goes horribly for you, could very easily end up being a Humble Life comeback and that promised game number 3. But I feel like T1 have so much control. They're playing so slow and methodical.
This is the thing. It's the discipline that they're playing with. It's just ridiculous. And yeah, that's 6 items. Full build here for Faker. The Rise is going to be so frightening. Not to mention, Ona has about 11 Zeka health bars right now, as we can see. So this starter is going to be so hard to get through.
He's pretty beefy. Carry has an arm guard, by the way.
Yeah, he's also doing pretty well, as HLE do manage to secure their red buff. That is actually a decently big deal. But I don't know whether they're going to be able to contest with this Dragon.
So there's the problem. Like, Peanut, you can't give over Soul, but you might lose your base if you go in here.
Yep. And Delight wraps around, does see Doran on that flank angle.
Spotted. They're on vision.
Yeah, there's a counter-strike. It just catches Zeka, and there is the Dragon going down. The Realm Warp to deliver the rest of T1, but it's only Faker that comes in. Still, Doran gets himself out. The exhaust is onto Peanut, not exactly highest value, as Zeus will block off the entrance. And Faker just buying some time where he can, but still able to get one of these kills. Still, Zeus gets into that back line, has to go golden, not out of the woods just yet as he does flash dash, but still dies. And now Doran being a menace, but will be going down himself.
They have to keep going!
Yep, the wall comes on through as Zeker is trying to buy the space. A flick back on Ona once again, but he gets the impale. And Gumyushi does so much damage, so does Viper though. Carrier uses that arm guard, and now Ona is tanking for days.
Look at the base!
Viper is a monster. Gumyushi gonna get taken down to the GA. Ona is pretty much invincible as Peanut gets out of the brush. They're able to take down the Corki, but he almost kills Viper. And Ona is immortal. He is just impossible to kill. So thankfully, they're just going to be able to back away now. And yeah, the game is likely still over because these minions are so annoying.
The game is still afoot. I
thought it was a game.
They lost Drake, so like, oh my God, if that fight goes a little different, that might be the end of it. Doran finds the angle. They're getting a lot of damage down, but it takes a while for the rest of T1 to actually show up. Faker does end up going down, and if Zeus had stayed alive for longer, that might have been enough, but he ends up getting turned on by the entire team as to stop what's very early, and then despite his flash, Carrier is able to protect Guma, keep him safe, but the light gets Doran back in his team, and Viper just gets to shell out so much damage here. If that flick back catches Carrier, I think the fight might look completely different, because it actually sets up Owner for a pretty decent impale. Then Owner also goes in. He's actually the one that kills Saka, by the way. If he doesn't find that flash E, it might have been a disaster, but now the Hail Mary Baron!
Well, it's going down extraordinarily fast. Owner gets headbutted out, so it's Peanut that's able to lock down the Baron. Still, Doran going golden, but the knock-up will interrupt. All right, the Realm Warp to try and get T1 out of there. They will leave, but the Baron is now circulating HLE, and they have a man advantage.
So no soul. I think Hollow Life, they have to full ascend it. Doran's dead for another 50 seconds. And it's just a regular season game, but it's much more. It's the fight for second. It's Hanwha's attempt at finally getting back to Genji, to T1's level.
Oh my goodness.
They have to keep going.
This goes in. Yeah, they just need to take down these turrets as quickly as possible. 34 seconds.
They have soul. You need to make the most out of this Baron push, Atlas.
Yep. Peanut, can he find an angle in here? As this is the longest game so far, I'm pretty sure, in rounds 3 and 5 in the Legend group, especially between these two teams, as T1 have 2-0'd them every single time.
Top lane Inape is back up. There's one more super minion trying his best.
Yep, there is the Weaver as well. Faker goes golden, but it's not going to save the turret. The Impale's only on the Delight, and they get on top of it. They got him! Down goes Faker, and now Carrier trying to be the hero gets into the back line. But my God, the damage as HLE tear through T1, and this will be a series chronicler. This is not even the series win, and we're losing our minds. This just means we get another one out of HLE and T1 here today.
The journal knew! The tempo vibes were still there for Hanwha Life!
Maybe the other regions will now listen when I bring my journal to the next international event or something and show them the pretty pictures about the tempo vibes. This is going to be an example in the book.
What a bonkers game to air. Hanwha Life, tenacious. Hold on, bring it. Again, it's not even the series win. We're just
no, it's not. We're just going to game three.
Game 3.
Yeah.
Woo!
But that's
what a game.
Yeah, and sometimes you just got to celebrate an absolute banger of a game. And this, oh man, this actually does put HLE in a really good spot for the third one, right? As 60k damage from these 80 carries. That is absolutely ridiculous. Look at that lead. It was 16 minutes into the game, and T1 basically won the game-winning fight. And then HLE just held on for dear life. Oh my goodness.
Good luck, game 3, living up to that one.
Yeah, most of the time it's a blowout in situations like that, but I prefer not to mention that here because hopefully we just get another extraordinary one as, yeah, no, I can imagine there will be some emotions running high here, but some celebrations, of course, on the HLE sides of things.
I think that's Zeka's mom, if I remember correctly.
Yep. Back once again. And now it's time for us to take a short break. When we get back, it's going to be Digon and the gang breaking that one down, and it'll be a joy to listen to, and then we'll be there for game 3.
발라봐. 꼴키 높으리고. 타. 야, 라이즈 풀 있어. 야, 라이즈 뛰었어. 밀어줄게. 나 W 3초. 너무 좋아. 스카나. 야, 꼴키 볼 수 있는 사람. 꼴키 높을. 나이스. 야 잭스 노전이야 노전이야 노플. 아 이겼어. 야 잭스 잡을 생각해줘. 잡아. 아 잘했다. 나이스. 계속 해보자. 일단 잘했다.
Game 2 to propel yourself into a game 3.
Oh, this is
on the other hand,
it's an observed phenomenon.
this is an observed phenomenon. On the other hand, blue side is very strong. So these are the opposing forces that are going to clash.
That we're going to study
Indeed.
in this up-and-coming game.
Exactly right. I have a few pages prepared in my journal for it.
That's a Viper respect band if I've ever seen one. I'm like, okay,
yeah.
Viper, none of that. Get out of here with these. Because the Ezreal performance was kind of insane. I think Viper had a really pretty rough game number 1. Did bounce back admirably, and I'd say Kaisa is probably his next best pick, and he's been pretty insane on that, as the bans on the other side do not change whatsoever.
Orianna first.
Oh, Zeka, do it. You know you want to. Slam that Akali.
Oh,
Bring it back.
Wait, Zeus is thinking about Naring.
I don't know if we do it this early. We can see.
I mean, there are a lot of top laners that both of these players really like that have been taken away by
That is true. Yep.
That's it's a big deal. I think they'd be like the top 4
I think
on the
Zeus
priority
maybe
list.
is just doing some...
Doing some hovering for now as the J4. So...
Well, they did release the skins, his own Gnar skin and the
true.
T1 Pike skin, so maybe that was a little nod there. Wouldn't surprise me, as it's just going to be Jhin and Jarvan.
Away.
So Jarvan, I think, is both really good with Orianna, good into Orianna as well, as she doesn't have a dash, can lock her down reliably. And Jhin is definitely would have been the highest prio AD carry for T1 at this point, right?
And
like, that's kind of a no-brainer given how they play and their draft prioritizations in the LCK thus far.
What do you think about Jhin Janna as a bottom lane?
Janna?
Because that way, the acronym would be JJJ, which is a reference to an Australian radio station, Triple J.
Sure.
It would be pretty cool.
If that makes you happy.
Yep.
I don't think you picked that into Bart, though, so I think the dream is no longer there.
Well, we're hovering a Karma. I don't know whether that is going to be locked
The Bard
because there's
pickaway
already a
is
Bard.
So interesting to me, as we have actually seen Tristana, I forgot who else played it, but we have actually seen it make a comeback as a bot laner. Could also be that
Ruler?
Could be, I'm not sure. Could also be that they want to take that away from a possible... oh, come on, please, for game 3. For second place.
Ooh. Oh, Nico is pretty
It's
good.
definitely Nico, or it should be. All things considered, we have the Nocturne Ori combo to come through here. Now, Owner has been a big Nocturne fan for a while. I feel like we haven't really seen him drop it.
Oh, God, he's doing it.
He is doing it. The early laning phase, as with many Akali's matchup, is not the most fun. But late game, inside, you just... If he ever hits an E, you're just dead. Orianna just doesn't have a way to really deal with the damage that comes out. She doesn't have a way to lock down the Akali reliably. And you just can't get away from her.
Yeah.
So it is a really rough matchup once the first items come through. There's also already good setup with the Jarvan. But the team fight does look really strong thus far from T1. I wouldn't be shocked if they... What do they ban? Like, they ban Lucian here, actually.
They ban
like,
Nico, 100%.
No, I mean Humble Life. Because I think there are scenarios where when you're playing Akali, you would want to ban Xayah, which I think would be one of Guma's go-to in this situation. But I think Jarvan is so good into Xayah. And I also think Jhin is a really hard lane matchup, so they might not want to span a ban on that. Yeah, they're banning it. Yeah, I mean, that's... we knew that was going to happen. That one seemed inevitable.
It's interesting
Is it like
that
Nico Braum ban?
Yeah, the Braum could be a decent thing to take
I don't
away.
think Jim Braum is anything to write home about, but I do like Braum into...
I'd like to
Nocturne.
see like something a little bit more aggressive for the bottom lane to allow them to actually go toe-to-toe with the Bard lane. Because otherwise, I mean, Delight is probably just going to pick something that has engaged.
Oh, it's Rel.
Or something
He
like,
will pick
or
Rel.
Yeah.
It will be Rel, I think, is most likely, unless we get the Domon 2020 skin bot lane.
Huh.
With the Jhin Leona.
And I think it's going to be a battle between who can get Aatrox, as Leona is going to be taken away.
Okay. Well, you definitely pick a support here, right? And then we save counter pick for Zeus. That's gotta feel like that has got to be the way. Unless, as you're saying, you blind the Aatrox. We get like Gnar versus Aatrox. This is a this makes complete sense, right?
Yeah.
Like we knew this was coming. You already know the matchup you're going into, and it's not the most fun, or it won't be. What I imagine will be a Lucian Bard.
Lucian Bard feels weird.
It's the Jarvan, right? So like, I think you have to.
Well, he is going to lock it in any minute now.
Because Lucian, I do think, is a lot better with Nocturne than Xayah would be. They have actually been able to utilize the Aphelios to great success, but I do think that was a tailor-made draft that made that work.
Still having a bit of a hover, but it is going to come back to the Lucian, and he will be locked away. And now, what are you playing, Doran?
It's like Aatrox, Gnar. I think Gragas normally would be something you go towards here if you're Doran. That is one of his best champions, but I feel like the Gnar matchup is not the best.
Ooh, Yorick.
Yorik's all right.
You can play it with the Nocturne quite comfortably, but
I like Renekton more. Yeah.
Yep.
So now, does Zeus slam the Gragas? That has been
it's a
classic
cannon game.
Counter.
It's a cannon game.
Oh god, it's not a cannon game.
It's a cannon game.
Watch them actually pick cannon. That'd be like, I mean, they could use the extra AP. I don't know, I'm not saying it's bad. We're seeing some smiles. That also is a classic counter pick. Won't really change the composition. That, he literally, today his skin got released. Oh my god, do it.
Oh, the Ornn in the end. Olaf would have been aggressive.
I don't think it would have been good. I don't even think Olaf works well with Jarvan, because like he can get you out.
Acronym game also pretty fun though.
Okay.
On HLE's side being Jijaro.
Jijaro.
Yeah, it's got a certain
That sounds like
vibe to it.
that could be a JoJo character's catchphrase.
T1's a little bit more obscure.
Yeah, I don't know about that. That doesn't really. No,
That's what it is.
Well,
No.
no, I know that, but that's not giving me anything.
You need to do a bit of a flick of the tongue at the end.
No, I mean, Atlas, come on, I speak Dutch. I can say it. It's just, I just don't think there's any meaning to be derived from.
Oh, is it a rude word in Dutch or something like that?
No.
Did I say something awkward? I'm so sorry.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay. Needed to make sure.
With the Ornn, it's actually a pretty big pivot. Gives a lot more team fighting power, but it does mean that the topside prio is in favor of T1. We got Sekka's Akali, we got Faker's Orianna.
I do think HLE have not very much damage as far as inner team fight is concerned, right? Like there's not a lot of AoE, things like this. They can certainly find picks and things like that, but this is a classic team fighting comp.
But there's no tanks on the enemy team.
True. So it may not be as much of a problem. And remember...
Oh, that's his skin!
Yeah, this guy does have an Akali skin, and they have the tempo vibes. Let's get into it. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for Game 3. Man, we are so lucky. Also got Doran's 600th game. That is happening right now,
Atlas,
as we can see it.
At the start of the day, we set a very high barrier for this series.
Did we really?
We did, because we said, can it live up to the Rise match later today?
Oh, God. Well, I mean, I think so far...
I think it has.
It's getting there.
I think it's looking good.
We haven't seen the Rise match yet. And
That
we
is
had
true.
a couple of days off, right? So if you have a couple of days off from the Rise group, I feel like you become, you know,
You forget.
You forget just how incredible it is, you know?
Like really what you're witnessing, because it can't really be described in words. You have to experience
Yeah, and
it.
it's not really something you have an opinion of either, you know? It transcends that. You can't be like, this is good, because it isn't. It just exists.
See, here, that's where I disagree with you, because I feel like the beauty of Rise Group is, again, it's a mirror. Like, it's actually, in talking about how we view it, reveal something about ourselves.
Well, exactly, but that doesn't necessarily need to be described as good or bad. It's just all of us.
Oh, that is valid, yeah.
You know?
Well, but there can be parts you like more and like less, which in turn still, you know, reveals things. As,
Do I take a lot of that?
Yeah. Good reveal, Atlas.
Yeah, there it is. I saw that in the mirror. Wait, this is the
No,
Legend
this is
group. We
Legend
don't need
group.
to worry about it.
That's just Legend group is just League of Legends. That's why it's called Legend.
Ah.
League of Legends group.
So here I was thinking that we spelt Rise Group W-R-I-S-E. So it's the W group. And the Legend group is the L group. Because you just don't get the good games in the Legend group and you get all the W games in the
After
Rise
last game, I don't know. Maybe Legend group does have something to offer.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is looking pretty risey. We'll just have to see how this one's going to go. Already, Zeka getting a little bit bullied in that mid lane.
The
but
early
as you can
pathing.
see, CS still there, and yeah, they are going to try and get a fight started. Peanut going to make his way in. The Flag and Drag going to be available, and he's just waiting for Gumayushi to flash. Oh, the flash follow! Peanut still got the hands, ladies and gentlemen, and Viper's got the bullets. That's going to be first blood for HLE. Oh man, these tempo vibes kind of getting ridiculous.
And that is not only Peanut finding the kill, that is both Summoners gone on Guma. Viper still has both of his.
Peanut, man. He did it. We thought he was just the Maokai guy. That was one of the, I mean, he knew that flash was coming.
Oh, he was ready.
That was pretty impressive.
I'm not gonna lie, I think Peanut's form has obviously not been the best. I was really worried that it wasn't going to happen when we all knew, and then I would have to talk around it.
Oh, no.
And it would have been painful. Instead, colossal win. Viper gets the kill as well to make it even better. As the light sets it up, we've seen this exact play a million times. Q into flash, guarantees the follow-up, and Guma ends up going down. And it makes sense. I think this is one of those games where not having cleanse is actually valid because all the CC outside of Rel Q and like what, Jin W, it's all knockups.
Yep.
So it's not really the type of game where you go, man, should have had cleanse for that. But it does mean that if he gets caught by that, he just ends up going down, as is the case there. Viper gets the kill, keeps his summoners. And the other two lanes of Humble Life are really just looking to survive, right? So if Peanut gets his bot lane ahead, that also buys him the space to make sure that his top and mid are not getting dove pre-6. Now for Zeus, I think the threat range is a little bit further than that, right? Like I think Renekton, when he reaches like first item, level 9, level 10, 11, that's where you really have to be careful because if he gets ahead there, he really takes over the game. But for Zeka, I think first item, get him to 6. Even now, the fact that he, even now, obviously Faker's going to catch this wave, but like as long as you're not getting taken down, and you're just able to get through the lane even in the first 6 levels, you are looking peachy, and we shouldn't be surprised because it's
Zeka. He's pretty good at this.
People in the world's doing this exact thing.
Yeah,
that did happen.
And it's only really been Closer that's been playing the Akali so far this season, I'm pretty sure.
I feel like we've seen it like once or twice.
Yeah.
But it's because Akali is such a binary champion, right? Like either you're kind of styling on them or you're not really offering a lot. There's not really any middle ground. So Guma does have his barrier back up.
He does. And T1 is still looking to position aggressively here in this lane. As you can understand, Viper going to be reloading here as Doran just wants to hit the turret. And guess what? He will be able to do that as Zeus does breathe on the minions. Zeka looking for a bit of an angle here as he does get back to that minion. As a shockwave just to clear out the wave here for Faker. And Zeka going to be able to do the same thing with his 5-point strike. So definitely just trading waves here between the Orianna and the
that would actually be big. Does cancel the Faker back, which might set up a possible play towards this dragon here as Zeka. Oh, Faker actually cancels his back again. He doesn't have Shockwave, and Zeka needs like, what, 1 or 2 minions to get level 6 here. Will be an old advantage.
Yeah.
I think Humble Life should be able to get this. Yeah, T1. Looks like they decide not to follow through, and I think they shouldn't. Oh, he's gonna go in.
Oh yeah, Zeka actually looking for an angle here as he gets into the Shroud as well. 5-point strike doing so much work. He'll have another one. There it is. And there is the ulti through. Zeka finds the second angle, but the fear is going to come in, and a little bit of an overstep there by the Akali.
Yeah, that's really, that's kind of the Akali experience right there.
There be two sides to every coin.
It started out as a Zeka Akali, and then it turned into your Akali and solo queue very quickly. Because I think the initial play was great, then following through and taking the turret shot, not so much as...
Yeah, well, someone's getting paranoid here towards the top side of the map, and yeah, he's going to try and get himself out. Does invest the flash. Dustbringer not going to be enough to kill him, but Doran is still waiting. Yeah, he is going to just be able to eat. Doesn't have a lot of the blue stuff.
No, he's out. They can't Dive.
down.
Oh, maybe a little...
Little cheeky Doran angle, looking for Peanut here. Just
That was our micro!
Slice and a dice.
Come on. Narratively, they're his.
That is true. He is the Krog Lord for a reason, but Peanut does still smite it, and also manages to get the little ones with a flag.
And he also gets Dominus and wastes a lot of Doran's time.
Yeah, but Doran sent a message, and his message was...
Those are my Krogs.
Those are my Krogs. And Peanut said no, but...
It started off so well, Atlas.
It did.
And this is where he lost us. As the giant wave goes in... Oh, there you go.
Oh,
so he... Okay, that makes way more sense.
He needed to get to the Shroud, but the Shroud wore off.
That's why. That makes way more sense.
Yeah, actually,
my bad
very,
for
very
not
cute.
catching that one when the play came through. Very great storytelling by our observers.
Yeah.
But yeah, was meaning to just do damage, E back to the wave, and then, or to the
And it was
Shroud.
second activation as well, so like, I mean, you have to try and do
dead.
something with it.
Yeah. Well, I could have just used it on the wave, right? But he was looking to maximize his damage. Still, big mistake by Zeka. Unforced error. Does mean that Faker is feeling a lot better in that matchup than he, I think, should have been allowed to, given how it played out earlier. As we do have a little bit of a fight here. But Guma, because of that earlier play, is behind, which means that the light is out of the play.
Yeah.
And it looks like no contest is coming out. And for a Akali composition, I think you're going to be very happy picking up those early triple grubs.
Having a very good time. Even Zeus feeling pretty happy in this bottom lane now that he does have the Kindle Gem as well as his Bramble Vest. This on actually with a slight gold advantage, which is kind of crazy in the neutral matchup.
Faker does know, obviously, because the grubs were just taken.
Yeah.
Look at his positioning.
Yeah, that's still Flash Cataclysm. Yeah, he has no Flash, so he's just going to find a three-man Shockwave and likely die as the Tempered Fate does come in, but I think it blocked the Paranoia damage as now Zeka gets himself into the Shroud. He should be able to backflip his way out or Flash. And there is the Flash, but still the Umbral Blades will come through. Flag and Drag gets Peanut out of there, but that is not the trade that HLE were looking for, as Faker doesn't go down without taking his opposite number with him.
Carry up. Very nicely done there with the Bard. Extends the play. And Zeka doesn't get the kill. And that to me is the biggest deal, because if Zeka got the kill, I think you don't feel that bad about the play. But he didn't.
Yeah.
Like, the kill went to the worst person for it to go to, which is Rel.
Well, Delight might be able to get to first item soon. Check this out. Yeah, everyone goes in and then the orb pulls them around.
Yeah, just nicely done the triple shockwave. The fact that immediately the extra turret shot, I think, actually ends up making a big difference. Otherwise, maybe Zeka gets out, gets another E right there. Probably would have been that anyway with Karios in the area, but could have been at least a little bit closer, but not going to be the case. The inclusion of this Ornn really changes how I feel about this game, though, because if that would have been something else, I think that I would feel like there's a lot more pressure on Hanwha Life. I don't necessarily know if that's still the case. And it's actually T1's composition to me that feels very, very mid-game focused.
Yep.
Well, when you do get to the, like, the free item break point, like champions like Nocturne and Renekton, I think, are just going to lose value compared to where some of the champions in Hanwha Life are.
Yep, I do think that the Bard kind of keeps everyone able to do stuff.
Oh, it's Karius Bard, right? Like,
yeah, and he can often create these zones of like 3 versus 5s and things like that that can really make everyone just pretty valuable.
Yeah, and they're
straight up 5v5, it can be harder.
Their rotations are still very powerful. Their side laning is good. I'm just a big believer in ornaments, basically.
Yeah.
And we will see what Zeus can get out of those. He is not falling for the classic tank trap of overgrouping and falling behind.
He is doing very well, actually, in this lane.
XP.
Currently a wave ahead. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's the aim of the game. Get as many levels as you possibly can. Try and get past 13 so you can start doling out those items. We'll be upgrading his Sunfire Cape pretty quickly, as he only needs another 4 levels for that. So those ornaments will be coming through. And that's what HLE are going to fight around. The fact that they got that first Drake as well is a huge deal because they have the Ornn composition, right? That buys you a lot of extra time. Still, it's not over yet, and there is a consistent damage problem that they do have as well. Like, taking Baron isn't exactly going to be something that dies all that quickly.
Oh, their objective. I think in fights, they should be fine. I think their objective takes are objectively bad.
Objectively bad,
And you know what? It's also not great for T1.
This standing on a ward thing that they're doing here is also subpar, but it's still
The cancel.
not going to matter. The magical journey not going to get taken. The cataclysm comes down as well as Zeka gets in. Tempered Fate does go down, but the teammates are already dead. The shockwave comes on through as the back scratcher comes out from Gumayushi, but doesn't find enough. And Faker is dead as well. Zeka just desperately wants a kill. He can't get one. The rest of his teammates are taking him all away.
Viper looking for the 4th shot, decides to just aura farm a little bit instead there, standing in front of Guma as his team takes the dragon.
And I told a lie. I actually thought that Zeka didn't get any of those, but he did get one of them, and he can count. Look at that.
1, 2, 3. Love that.
Yeah.
Good for him.
It's as easy as the letters.
ABC.
Pretty sure. Yeah, those are the ones. The Jackson 5 tried to teach me that, but I just didn't quite get there.
No, I think you're doing great. I'm the one.
Is it also as easy as X, Y, Z?
Oh, now you're losing me, Atlas.
No? Okay. Because it's just letters
So-
in sequence.
There is a good amount of plates being taken by T1 in response to this, but this is obviously a huge trade-up for Humble Life. As they do not get the cancel onto Zeus, which would have been a big deal. He now has Sunfire done. Bramble there as well, so he's going to be nigh unkillable. As we take another look at... They were on Vision.
Yeah.
It really gets me. As it's the light setup that starts this. They don't get over the wall, which means that they're just trapped in the Cataclysm by the time the Tempered Fate comes out. Like, nice that Faker gets a 2-man shockwave, but doesn't... And right there, Zeus.
Oh, Zeus.
Going in with the flash, ensuring that Faker doesn't get to flash out over the wall back to his turret by flashing and then getting the shortest range E that he could possibly get. Zeka not even going to be tagged by that shockwave, which is also what set up his ability to get into the back line. And again, man, Peanut has been on point with these engages, but it's been Delight that I think has been kind of not talked about as much as the form of Zeka, and Peanut I think has been a lot more in your face, not that great. But I think Zeka, or Delight rather, has also had a similar fall off. And right, even on his champions.
Yeah, and I honestly think that HLE looked good purely because Delight was him and Viper were always rock solid, right?
Yes.
Like Malphite would agree.
But
and
then
there've been lulls in performance from Peanut, Zeus, and Zeka throughout this whole year, even when they were doing well. But the fact that that core was still so strong, and the fact that Delight has been having some poorer performances has really hurt them. You're so right.
I think he's really fallen behind where Carrier and Duro are, right? And Carrier, I think, is, again, we talk about it so much, but it's warranted.
Peter, probably.
When we're talking about vibes, he's obviously unmatched.
Yeah.
But Duro, to me, has been just extremely well-rounded, extremely stable, doing really well on a team that even plays around him, right? The fact that he's getting Blitzcrank bans, he's still playing the champion and doing really well. And then Carrier, again, I think we've spent enough words on why he is such a special support player.
Yep.
Been a big topic of conversation. But the core point is that Delight had not, even on his champions, like the Rakan, like the Rel, looked as consistent. And I think that in this game, this is a really big deal if Humble Life win this. I think it's the start of a turnaround which could make our top 3 competitive instead of just being
Imagine, like, the dream obviously is being a 4-team region.
Oh, hey.
But a 3-team region.
That's better than 2.
We're very happy about it. The orb not actually going to get utilized just yet as the Tempered Fate will interrupt the curtains. Still, the Rift Herald going to be taken here by Owner. The Magnus Storm comes down, though. The teleport in from Zeka to deliver him into the backline, but the fight is already in a bit of an awkward spot, and Doran is so incredibly big. Zeka still looking for that angle, though. Onto Gumayushi as the shockwave doesn't find the mark. Still, the ulti comes through, but down he goes. And HLE just bit off more than they could possibly chew. And now they're just lying on the floor.
Back to 2 teams, Atlas.
There it is. I mean, we had a brief little moment there. I'm glad we got to have a conversation about it. And obviously it's not over, but that was a bit of a mess.
I haven't... What was that TP? That's actually the only part that I just don't...
It was a flank.
But they didn't... Like, I get why you want to flank as a Kali, but I think the initial engage onto Owner looked good there.
Yeah, I don't know. I was
was it a miss? I'm not quite sure. Is they're not going to get any extra kills? It's also not the end of the world for Humble Life, but it's not a good look. They were in a pretty solid situation. We're going to take another look here. So the G-Node getting cancelled is a bummer. Delight takes a lot of damage, but it feels like they could have definitely looked to turn here. Like Guma, that's got to be a misplay. Like,
Oh, maybe it was, yeah.
like Delight got good. Like they got Guma and Owner.
Yeah, I guess. I'm just trying to
'Cause
work
to
out
me that-
how the misclick.
I have no idea, but like to me that doesn't. Makes no sense.
No.
I don't. And the previous play, I think we did in hindsight. Soul. Maybe I'm missing something here that does happen. I don't want to go in too hard onto
the
Saka, but
space could maybe break it down for us. We'll just have to see. Level 11s are picked up.
That is a really big deal because these are exactly the type of mid-game fights that I think Lucian, that Renekton, that Nocturne are looking for, and that's a colossal gold swing, as we know.
Yeah.
The tempo vibes.
Starting to swing.
Oh, okay. I was saying might still be okay.
Well, we'll just have to see. Because it's about whether or not HLE have taken that to heart.
If they get Infernal Soul, then, or a Soul Point, then I think but it looks like they're not going to be contesting here.
Yeah, and I think you can give that one up. A second Earth, Wind, and Fire, by the way.
Nice.
I told you, T1 just always seems to get
You
it.
did, Atlas, and I did listen to you, so I don't know why you're
Oh, no,
repeating it.
I was more just like explaining it for everyone, just
Oh,
in case
repeating it
someone
to
turned
chat.
up a little bit late and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Maybe you saw the clips of game 2, you're like, man, that
Yeah.
looks cool. People always tell me the LCK is boring.
No.
I would never.
That's an older code.
Those people have clearly never watched Rise Group.
Exactly.
As they are contesting, in fact, Atlas, Soul Point on the table here for Hanwha.
Yeah, Zeus looking for a bit of an angle here, but Gumayushi is pressuring him away. Doran as well on that flank. Captive
Taking a
Audience
lot
is
of damage.
in position. And Zeus does have the teleport. He is going to go back, get that health bar back up again, and then look to go for a flank angle, and there it is. The Ram can come on through, but Keria can make this so incredibly annoying. The immediate flash has to come through from Zeus to get him back to his teammates, and now the Rift Herald is going to come down. That's looking to take an inner turret if it can, and HLE, they really want this Soul Point. And we'll see whether they can actually get in there. No one really pulling the trigger just yet, and now they're going to turn. Shockwave connects onto two. There was a Tempered Fate. He's going to buy so much time for Doran still. He is going to fall, but it's in trade for Delight as now it is just a mess inside the pit. Owner's spinning around, taking down Peanut. The Cosmic Binding, so incredibly good here from Keria, and Faker is not going to be thwarted by Zeus. Zeka as well, just going to have to flash his way out and should be able to backflip to relative safety, but it's not going to save the fight.
The Keria with a crazy carry of the team fight. That's what we were talking about earlier.
Yep.
That right there is why we see these Bard bans.
He is a magician on this champion.
This is all traceable back to Barrel, by the way. I'm just saying.
It is true.
Reaching
It is
fire with you, I know. Jokes aside, show me a replay of that one, because that is now a 4K gold lead once this turret goes down. That is the Soul Point denial, as Zeus with the flash is obviously rough. He also isn't quite the right level yet, so he doesn't have his ornament, because it kills this turn. Faker Shockwave into the ultimate means that they don't take down Doran soon enough. And then Viper has to walk into the pit here to try and take him down. Owner gets the fear onto Peanut, and then the flash binding, which means that I think the fight was already looking rough, but with that, there just isn't really anything to be done there. They take down one of the sources of damage, as in they go, Otacon's up.
Yep, flash out attempted here by Peanut. Let's see what he can do to try and escape, as that is a pedal, not a blast cone, but he's still able to flag and drag. Okay, there's the redemption, but it's actually avoided. Shockwave finishes him off. Oh, that Tempered Fate to deny a redemption heal? Was that actually what he meant to do? Because that's insanity.
I mean, even if it's just a setup for the Shockwave, force him to walk back, it still did its job, Atlas.
Absolutely did.
That's going to be Otacon, surely.
There's not going to be a lot of ways for HLE to find an angle here.
The jungler.
And they will be able to secure it. So T1, they do, you know, possibly take a fair bit of damage here on this turret, but even then, like, the Vinny Wave's just non-existent. Let's have a look at how this one all started.
I've heard great things about being a two-team region. You know, it's really not that bad.
Yeah. I've heard the two-team region is actually kind of the way to be. Like, that's in vogue. Like, that's the thing.
So, watch this. Delight, I think maybe trying to time it and just a second early. And then there, Peanut has to walk out, because otherwise he would have also died, because he would have gone hit by the Tempered Fate, and then would have gotten ulted by Faker out of that. And now the gold lead back to 5. Now, after game 1, or sorry, after game 2, we're not gonna
it's just,
get ahead of ourselves.
HLE kind of has them right where they want them.
I feel like with this drop,
Yeah, if it was, and also if it was the bros, then maybe that would be true.
According to
that's
you, the bros always have their opponents right where they want.
exactly. But
Unless
HLE are
they might
not
not-
the bros.
they might not make
do
playoffs.
have a fifth of a bro though. Yeah,
That
they
is
just
true.
they wanted some time off.
The bros?
Maybe they got holiday plans. You don't know. Don't make judgments on things that you don't understand.
I'm sorry. I'm just being a bro auntie. I apologize.
I know.
I
I
couldn't
guess
help
someone
myself.
has to do it. It
No.
must feel worse though. It must feel worse. Just being pro bro is the way.
You think? I can't believe we haven't made a pro Brono joke yet.
We did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh,
Don't worry.
wonderful.
I got that one in last week.
Okay. How did I miss that? That sounds right up my alley.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, we're getting carried away with Rise Group, you know? It just...
sometimes you just got to talk about the bros for a bit, though. That can help you feel a little bit better.
I want to talk a little bit about what is the difficulty here for Humble Life, because I think we saw it in an earlier fight as well. I think that right now they are really relying to get back any tempo in this game, any control, is to take down an individual target. But who do you turn on? Because as we can see, Faker doesn't do that much damage because he has... they're actually going to look.
Yep, looking for a bit of an angle, but the
they
backflip
can
doesn't
hold.
connect.
Yeah, so this means that Zeus has to join the team. He really wants to be in the side lane because he wants to try and hit 14.
There is a Jhin in the bottom lane that has just gone home.
Yeah, what I really want to highlight is that the targets are Renekton, which is, you can't blow him up. He has Starix, he's Renekton, he's level 14.
Yep.
No can do. Owner's honestly not bad, but with the spell shield it's kind of hard. Faker has Roa.
Well,
They
there's
go!
the angle from Delight. They're looking for a double knockup. Comes down as well. The Tempered Fate to buy some space here. I don't know whether it's going to be good enough, though. They lose the Nocturne, but Delight does go down. And Gumushi, he's free hitting. Doran gets in there, and the AoE is revolting out of T1. Doran just a massive crocodile to mop them all up.
Yeah, and I was just getting to the worst of it all. There is a Bard. So if you are not engaging onto him, the fight might not necessarily be going your way, and
It's continuing to not go their way.
nope. Oh my god, man. Delight sets up an engage, 2-man ultimates, all this CC, but it doesn't matter. Because it's all just set up, allowing for Doran to pop in and get
God.
so much value. Flash Wak onto the backline of Hanwha Life. Zeka basically does nothing in the fight. The Zakali, unfortunately, has not had the snowball they were looking for, is not looking too hot in this game, and now the gold lead is truly in, okay, Hanwha Life can still win, but it's gonna require some colossal mistakes.
Faker doing some creative item purchase.
Well, that's actually what I was highlighting. This is, I think, one of the games, like, in a normal game, also, by the way, he's free levels up.
Yeah.
In a normal game, Orianna is actually a target. Like, Hanwha Life can't kill Orianna. Like, they actually can't. There's no way. He has Starix. Sorry, not Starix, Seraphs, but you know, both give a giant shield. Rather Aegis and
Roa
Riftmaker.
and Riftmaker.
He's actually, like, I don't know how much health he's sitting on, but he's not dying.
He's basically Galio, but Oreo.
Yeah.
Maybe we can call him Oreo.
You know, legally, I don't know if we should.
Oh, that's a good point. We could ask for the sponsorship, though, and just point them towards.
I mean,
What about Gargoyle and Metal Ballerina?
It's
They might go for it.
It's like a duo skin.
Yeah.
When you have both. Oh my god.
That'd be pretty cool.
So who's Cookies and who's... So Galio's Cookies?
Cookies Galio.
Yeah.
Or maybe it can be like Glass of Milk Oriana and Dog Galio.
Yes.
There it is.
Amazing. The ball is just a... It's just a glass
Just
of
a glass,
milk?
a glass of milk. And the
And when you
ball,
ult,
the
like
ball
the
is just
milk's-
no, it's just an Oreo that just goes out.
Oh.
And the Oreo just goes around. That's actually the main character. The glass just sort of glass glides around.
What I was thinking is Winds of War become an Oreo. It's just a storm of Oreo.
Yeah, that could happen as well.
Yeah.
That will definitely happen as well. We got to workshop this, but it's certainly there is
Hey,
a
this
lot
is how
of potential here.
you know, the train Orn skin started like this.
Exactly, exactly. You've really got to make sure that you figure it out. Just like HLE needs to figure out a way back into this game.
Okay, so
or they could lose. They could do that as well.
Peanut Smite Steal of Baron.
Got it.
Pray someone on T1 has some funny positioning. They did in game 2.
Yep. And then hope that some more items can come in. There's Bellows Breath coming down there from Zeus. Too much more going to happen here as HLE, they just need
kill
to
Bard?
respect the Bard. Exactly right. The Ram comes down, gets a nice knock up on Owner, but now time for the re-engage as the Shockwave comes in, pulls Peanut to his doom as Zeka goes in like a madman and just gets obliterated. Viper now finds himself as the last man standing, and he ain't standing for long. Down he will go as T1 are gonna snuff out HLE here in the end of Game 3. Oh man, what a pipe dream. Game 2 led us to believe as T1 just pull it right back.
And with this loss, Live losing to their direct competitor for second place, a spot they were holding on to tightly, even though they had not been able to stand up to T1, to stand up to Gen G. But it was their past performances, the level they had back then, that allowed them to stay strong in that position. But
and
a
now,
big loss, Atlas.
It certainly is. And now HLE become the biggest Gen G fans ever. And they also need to beat Nongshim. So it is still looking pretty good here for HLE as T1 only move one match ahead, but still, now there is hope. And T1 have their fate in their own hands. And that is the biggest thing. They've taken down Gen G before. If it's a best of 3 of best of 3s, it's the Game 3 of best of 3s against Gen G to see who's the better team. Said best of 3 a lot of times.
Trying to find my my moment.
The
Malpoment. So I'm gonna give that some thought.
Can we go with Mopman?
Sure, if you prefer that.
I like to keep the pom part still in there.
Okay. Yeah,
And I like mops. That's I don't actually. Who did you even vote for? Or are we gonna keep that a secret?
Oh no, I mean I'm happy to tell you. It's kind of basic, but I ended up just going for Keria again. I think even the game 2 that they lost, he was.
I feel like Keria has
insane.
become the Chovy.
No, but it's actually warranted though. Like who was the POG of this game?
I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's almost always safe.
Yeah, but I do truly believe it. Like over the course of the series as well.
I think like there's definitely an angle for Doran though.
I think Doran would be great. I think Owner had a really good game too, but didn't really hold on to that form in the other games necessarily. It's actually I think was fine.
Yeah, I think Doran's game 1 and 3 were pretty outstanding.
His Wukong,
and Owner, yeah. Owner was also very good.
It's hard.
It is. It's a tough one. When there are 5 really good players on a team, voting for which one's the best is always difficult. But let's have a look at some of the highlights here. As man, Keria's VOD, fantastic. But this start to the game was actually HLE utilizing the tempo vibes they'd built earlier in the last game. But then it all just goes wrong. Not quite here. This was still fine.
The early fights actually going pretty decent here for Hanwha Life, but it's this fight I think that we're going to be looking towards. Because this is where the game snowballed. And we even mentioned this, right? Coming out in the early game, coming out of Champ Select, is that this mid-game for T1 with Nocturne, Renekton, and Lucian, if they do get a lead, you don't get to play the game anymore. And then that fight already made things tough. This fight ended the game, right? This was just where it was over. As Doran, I think, on his Renekton, just doing a wonderful job with the amount of pressure that he was able to generate in the fights.
God, Keria, that was a bit of a binding.
Yep. Yeah. And despite the best efforts from Hanwha Life and some great teamfight engages, just wasn't quite enough. Zeka there, unfortunately, showing up a little bit too late. And then I hope we don't see the final replay where he goes in and just gets...
yeah, I'd prefer not to.
Just gets popped.
I also imagine that the space will have some choice words for the draft out of HLE. But sometimes these are just how it lands. I feel like this is like the perfect example of a composition that I've always kind of hated, with the Jhin being the reliable damage source.
I think this composition actually was playable. I think they showed us early as well. They just took 2 really bad mid-game fights, and against T1, you can't afford to do that, right? Nope. This is where they excel. It's specifically starting from like minute 15 to 25. They just pummel you down. You just don't get to play the game. They will kill you over and over and over. And the funniest part about this whole ordeal is that Faker somehow did the most damage in the game.
Yeah, kind of nuts. As Carrier will be able to pick this one up, moving up to
Come on,
800 points.
Look at these.
Yeah, 0-1-20 ain't too bad on his Poppy as well. But his Brad, man, always just so good to see. What is like a 20 KDA in game 1,
I mean,
and
even
a 10 KDA in game 2, and an 18 in game 3. Like, oh my god.
I mean, out of those three, as crazy as the Bard was, I know they lost that game, but Carrier's Recon performance was also disgusting. What a series, Atlas.
This was worthy of the Rise. 100%. And do you know what the best part is? It's only the first series of the
Still
day.
coming.
Oh
on the way.
We are so blessed in the final week of the LCK for 2025 before we get into play-ins and then playoffs. Man, we're going to be doing so much. There is still so much more, but it's 100%. The Rise group always delivers.
They wouldn't let us down.
They would never. They would never. And DNF, they're on the rise. They're going to figure it out. And now it is time to have a chat with Carrier before we get into that.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POM Inverse Translation, joined by Carrier on the side of T1. Congratulations! Losing today meant losing second place. You really needed that victory. And you took a 2-1 win. How do you feel? You know, Hana Life Esports, they have been performing very well. And we were definitely preparing very hard for today, and I'm glad that we were able to win. In games 1 and 3, you displayed near perfect performance. After the KT match, what did you work on? I feel like in the KT match, there are a lot of aspects, even in the laning phase. We didn't get to play our game normal, and I think it looks like Ati is really just taking the spotlight. How do you feel? Ati was cheering for you today. He's just really cute. And after Bard kept getting banned in phase 2 of games 1 and 2, in game 3 you took Bard as the B2 pick. So were you confident that you would win with Bard? I feel like, yeah, I just have a different mindset when I play Bard as compared to other champions too. You know, I feel like our opponents always try to ban Bard, so whenever we get the opportunity to play him, we do take him. So how did you feel after securing Bard? You know, after getting Bard, I did feel a lot better, and I felt like I could win no matter what. And T1 actually has a very short average game time. But game 2 went over 45 minutes, and you played a pretty close series. So how are you able to maintain your focus today? As for today, I think we had an advantage whenever it came to the team fight, and I feel like it really came down to us maintaining our focus whenever we were able to win. And you know, game 2 was an unfortunate loss because we weren't able to focus very well. And in game 3, Doran reached 600 LCK games. Anything you want to say? Honestly, congratulations on your 600th win. I hope that we get to play for a very long time. And the long-awaited T1 World Skin was revealed just yesterday. How do you like your Pyke skin, Carrier? Personally, I like it a lot. Other than me, I feel like other players' skins also came out, and they were really cool, so I think everyone's really happy. And now, take your time to sell out. I don't know if you guys like Pyke personally, but I feel like he looks really cool. So I would be really grateful if you guys all use it. You know, it would make me so happy if a lot of my fans use it. And T1's last regular season match will be against Gen G. In the rounds 3 and 4 matchup, you guys are neck and neck, so what mindset do you have? You know, being able to compete against Gen G right before the playoffs, it's quite meaningful because they're really good, and I hope that we're able to pull up our performance and secure a victory. And that's the end of the interview with Keria, and back to the space. Thank you.